All right, here we go. MC Eiht. Welcome back to Vlad TV.
Yeah, we back. What's happening? What's good with it?
It's been a few years.
Yes, indeed.
It's been a few years. I feel like we had an epic first interview.
Oh, definitely. You know, we got some positive results. You know what I'm saying? I try to go for positive, not negative. So, you know, everything was good.
Yeah, I dig it, man. And since then, you know, you became part of the Gangster Chronicles.
Right.
You know, which is still, you know, doing its thing, still successful.
Gangster Chronicles is doing pretty good. You know, shout out to my boy Norm and, you know, the success of the show right now. I came in, you know, when I did. I wasn't an original part of Gangster Chronicles, but I was presented with an opportunity, you know, and that's what it was, you know, that's it. You know, so the show's doing pretty good. We making our rounds and you know, trying to uplift the show a little better, you know, that's all.
That's what it is. Well, let's get into what's happening right now. And of course, the biggest thing that's happened on the West Coast in a very long time was the whole Kendrick and Drake thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the pop-out show happened.
Right.
In Inglewood.
Right.
It happened on 4th of July. There was a lot of symbolic things, you know. Kendrick was kind of dressed like Tupac, lightweight, you know, with the red jersey and with the red hoodie.
I saw
that. It was
that.
like an homage, sort of.
I saw that quote.
Yeah. What did you think about that whole show, number one? Because you weren't actually there, right?
Oh, no.
Why'd you say, oh, no? Would that have been a issue if you went, or?
Oh, no, definitely not. I know a lot of people who attended. As far as Drake, Kendrick, I know my boy Jay Worthy, Head, you know, I know a few people. Top, you know, nothing of that type of situation. Basically, I had a previous engagement, that's all.
Got it. Would you have gone if you were free?
Probably.
Yeah.
If, you know, my son went.
Oh, okay.
You know, so
nice.
He got to experience that. I thought it was a good turnout.
It was a big turnout.
Yeah, I thought it was great, you know, for West Coast music. And all of the, you know, prominent artists that we have that some people tend to overlook at sometimes. What has been established as far as West Coast music, you know, when you got the, you know, the trap thing running real hard and the drill music running, I thought it was a good presence for West Coast music.
Well, after the concert, Kendrick actually dropped a music video for Not Like Us, which had so many little hidden meanings mixed in through it and imagery and so forth. What did you think of the music video?
I watched it once. I thought it was pretty good, showing all the symbolic spots of Compton, people getting to feel, you know, a place where they come from is represented, you know, respectfully. So I thought the video was done real good.
You know, one of the things that they were saying, like, for example, I had Whack 100 on my show recently, and a lot of people on the internet were saying, like, oh, Kendrick united all the gangs on stage, you know, in LA. But Whack pointed out that 90% of the people on that stage were actually Bloods and maybe 10% were Crips. So there was some unity, but it wasn't like the way people were painting it in that way. Yeah, and he managed to essentially unite all the LA gangs on stage.
Well, that's the thing, Steve, now. We can't do that because that waters down Los Angeles. Because what happened was, when you look at the stage is 90% Don Moves, Bloods, and Paul Rules.
Huh, okay.
Right? And then you had a few Crips in there. So I don't think Kendrick set out to unite the Crips and Bloods. That wasn't his angle. I think Kendrick set out to pull up those up-and-coming underground artists of greater LA that him and DJ Head is not getting the just due he should get, felt that was grinding and that had never touched the stage of that magnitude. Just so happened you got the PG Pericos, you got the Zoe Osamas, you know, 8-9 East Coast, Broadway. You got, you know, and whoever else was in there. I don't think Kendrick's whole thing was to unite the Crips and Bloods. His whole thing was to show unity amongst all.
I could probably I think that was probably about right. I don't know if anybody, else paid attention to that, situation, but I still think that as far as being able to put dudes in the same section when they're from different areas, not knowing what, beefs or rivals might be, them able to come together as far as rehearsals and, we've been trying to do that a lot lately, not just with Kendrick. There's been a lot of situations where we've had a lot of different associates get together at concerts. I've been to several concerts with Quik. Mac 10 has put on several concerts where, it's, both sides representation as far as the microphone is concerned. And we were able to get through situations without, back then beefs or whatever. So, I thought it was pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
of course, it was Inglewood, and of course, Kendrick is associated with, a lot of the homies from the Red Side. And that's no big secret. So, of course, you're going to want to have a lot of your representation, but just to be able to reach out, and get dudes from the other side who are trying to make their mark as far as hip hop is concerned, it was real classy.
Well, yeah, you actually commented because when Drake dropped Family Matters, he tried to sort of paint Kendrick as like a fake gangster, like who really represent, YG, who really represent Chuck D. But you actually said that Drake is reaching. Kendrick never claimed to be a Blood.
No, his representation, what it was, everybody knew where he lived, where he grew up. That was basically what he wanted to portray to people. Like, I'm not all out just, red ragged and, khaki suits and, tattoos of the neighborhood, but I grew up over here. I'm still gonna represent where I'm from, but I never, came out, like the homie YG or, the homie Game, who openly, told you, I'm affiliated with this section, Kendrick basically was just like, I grew up over here, I never went through the situations where I got put on or that type of things. But when you grow up in the hood, you're still a part of the neighborhood. And so that's where he came from with it, I thought, the line from Drake was, a reach because, we from Compton and a lot of Compton hip hop or rap affiliated dudes claim their neighborhoods, Kendrick was one who didn't have to go that route, but you knew he was from Compton. He went to Centennial, you get me? So that was a reach to me.
Well, you said Tupac would side with Kendrick over Drake if he was alive.
Oh, definitely.
And you said that Drake using the AI Tupac wasn't cool. And I thought that was corny, actually. I thought that was the corniest part of the battle.
I mean,
the AI Tupac and then the AI Snoop.
He probably thought it was gonna gather him some, some likes, for reaching for two of our well-known West Coast affiliates, but I thought it was a backwards move.
Yeah.
Because of nobody's ever gonna side with the fact that, this guy Kendrick's from Compton and we're all, when you come to the West Coast and South Central and Compton and Long Beach, dudes are kind of gonna tend to back each other before going somewhere else and backing someone else. Not to say that you can't have your particular favorite or, but I thought that was kind of corny to reach like that.
Yeah.
And I think that, because of how strong Tupac was and how he felt about, representing Death Row and representing the mob and representing that side, I think he would have been all out down for, with the Kendrick movement.
Well, yeah, Kendrick even said, he said, "I'll respect you, Drake, if you give that Tupac ring back."
Oh, definitely. You know,
Yeah.
those be power moves, man. You know, those be power moves.
Yeah, I don't think
dudes do.
that ring is going back though.
Yeah. Oh,
I think he's
I
keeping that
doubt
ring.
it. You know what I'm saying? He wants to hold on to the symbolization that, you know, he's that one, you know, and I guess it's all in good fun, but I don't think he will let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know the background behind that ring?
No, I
Do
don't.
you know how he got that ring?
Didn't he buy it in auction?
He did, but do you know who sold it at auction?
Who?
Yaki Gaddafi's mom.
Mm.
So I guess Yaki had that ring after Pac died.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Paki got, when
And then
Yaki
with him,
got
yeah.
accidentally killed,
Exactly.
you know, the mom had the ring, and there was a little bit of a gray area around that because technically, you know, the Tupac estate owns that ring. You see what I'm saying? But I think that they, you
But
know,
it
she
was
was
in
so
her
cool with
possession.
the,
Yeah.
she was so cool with Afeni. Like her and Afeni, like when Afeni was going through her trial, you know, the whole Panther trial,
Mhm.
she was living with Yaki's mom.
Okay.
And, you know, the two kids were growing up together, essentially. Tupac and Yaki. Yaki's a little bit younger.
Right.
But so Yaki was almost like Pac's little brother in a way.
Okay.
So, you know, they're all cool. So, you know, I think Afeni was like, go ahead, it's all good, you could take it. And then, you know, after Afeni died, she ended up selling the ring.
Yeah, never heard that story. That was interesting.
Well, there's actually a
story.
video of Yaki's mom talking about the ring
Oh,
before the
okay.
auction. Because, you know, when it's a big auction, they make videos of the person promoting.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
See what I'm saying? Because, you know, the
Okay.
ring got, I think, like $500,000 or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, that was I would say that was a smart move on his part. You get me? A lot of people probably wanted that ring. So, you know, money talks, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you had mentioned that Drake went too far by mentioning Top Dog and Kendrick's financial situation. What did he really say? He just said that the money goes a bunch of ways, or
I believe that, you know, when you trying to bring personal issues into situations you really don't understand about, you probably, you know, you crossing the line and you going over into a section that really is probably gonna turn from just, hey, let's keep this shit on some rap shit. And you know, things happen in this rap game. You know, you've been around long enough to know when hip hop turns beef and beef turns ugly. You feel me? You taking that risk when you start beefing with a nigga, period. And then when you start trying to touch on personal situations outside of you wanting to claim that you're the best rapper or the best hip hop motherfucker, whatever. That's all in the way you see it, all in the way you portray yourself. But if you're feeling tough enough to start mentioning personal situations and money and family and all that type of shit, then maybe you want to think that you tougher than you are. Or maybe what, are you ready to get into some confrontations or whatever? Because like I said, beef is beef and rapping is rapping and whatever. But when you start going into personal shit, then now things become unpredictable. You get me? And some people take situations personal. You get me? Like, that's not something you should be able to mention or talk about unless you're ready for that type of action. Now, if you feeling that you know, if you feeling untouchable and you the man and, you know, you ain't ready to, you know, do whatever you have to do, you know, when problems arise, you know what I'm saying, then you can do that. I try to stay away from personal shit. If I was beefing with a motherfucker, I'm just going to try to keep it to the hip hop shit or the rap shit, unless it goes out of bounds to where I can't control it.
Well, Kendrick got way more personal than Drake. Kendrick called, you know, Drake a pedophile.
But that was after the beef started, though. He didn't say none of that shit on the Metro Boomin song.
Oh, well, wait. Oh, okay, but when did Drake talk about the whole financial situation? Was it push-ups?
It started out, yeah.
Okay, so he talked about financial situation, push-ups, and then later on,
it's gonna get dirtier and dirtier.
Dirtier and dirtier.
Once you start and you want to start up, like I said, he didn't mention none of that shit on the Metro Boomin shit, on the Future track.
Right, he said, fuck the
just
big
rapped.
three, it's just
he
big
just
me.
said, I'm the best.
Yes.
Fuck it. In so many words, I'm the best. But then you come back and you want to get real personal. because that's what motherfuckers, I guess, do. You know, I don't know if they going to pay people for information or whatever they say to get down is. I have no idea. But I just know from experience as being a rapper or hip hop, whatever, when you start touching on personal shit, then all the gloves is off. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was by far the most personal, below the belt battle I feel in hip hop history.
And is that because why? Is that because they've been doing personal shots? Because my fascination is how motherfuckers go from doing records together and then all of a sudden we just gonna full out just blow each other up. Like, what happens in those situations? Because a lot of people have done songs with your boy, and now it seems like it's like, oh, everybody's gonna just tag team up and start going after him.
Oh yeah, no, listen, I've been saying this publicly, and I've even had discussions with people like Wack about this. Like, think about how many people Drake has made rich. Just point blank. The Migos, Blockboy JB, Young Blue, I Love McConan, all these features that he would do for people for free.
Okay.
When they were essentially underground local artists, songs that they could tour off of forever. Nobody stepped up. You know, A$AP Rocky even said that Drake was the first person that really jumped on his, you know, his records and churned them into something bigger. Like, nobody said nothing at all. Nobody said, oh, okay, you know something? I'm going to jump in this. I don't know Kendrick. He's never going to do a song with me anyways. Who cares? I'll fuck with Drake. Drake gave me that song for free. Because I've interviewed Blockboy JB. He said, Drake just gave me the song. Here you go. You know what I mean? Give me my credit, whatever, but here you go. Like, no one, I just don't understand that level of loyalty to me. Because my thing is like, you know, like Boosie. If I see Boosie going through something, that's my man. I'm going to jump in if I feel that it's applicable. You know what I mean? If I feel there's a place for me to jump in, I'm going to jump in. You know, when you know, he was going, you know, going through it with, you know, Evan Ross, like, I jumped into that whole situation to the point where everyone starts, you know, responding. Like, I just don't understand how someone could transform your life and you just quietly sit there and let everyone else gang up on him. Because everyone was ganging up on Drake. Everyone. Everyone was showing up at the pop-out show. YG, who has songs with Drake, you know what I'm saying, was
right.
Boom. You know, like, everyone, The Weeknd was ganging up on him. A$AP Rocky was ganging up on him. Everyone was doing diss songs against Drake. Future, who he has a whole album with, allowed him to get dissed on his own record.
Yeah, I don't understand the aspect of where that was from. So
yeah,
I don't know why it happened or why or is it because what? Is it because Drake felt like I sustained all you guys' careers and I want to be acknowledged for it? You know, you tend to wonder how, you know, these beefs start within, you know, the hip hop community right now. You know, back in my days, it was, you know, you want to prove you was the best rapper, you want to prove you was the best artist, whatever. That's a lot of, you know, a lot of friendly banter and shit back and forth. But dudes are ready to disgrace each other nowadays on the microphone, or, you know, rivalries shooting at each other, or people how the hip hop beefs go nowadays. It's real treacherous now, you know. So you got to be careful who you beefing with.
Well, hasn't it always been treacherous though? I mean, if you really think about it, right? Because I remember
it ain't been as treacherous as now. I
don't
associate our shit because if you was on the West Coast, gang banging influenced everything, and a lot of us came from gang banging. You get me? So a lot of that was influential in what our beefs was, outside of just, you know, I didn't beef with niggas across the country because I didn't know who they was and I just didn't think they was hard enough. You get me? Our beefs, a lot of them, as far as West Coast concerned, was affiliated with what set you was from.
Okay, but look at almost all the hip-hop beefs. There's almost always a level of violence associated with them at some point. Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown, there's a shooting in front of Hot 97. 50 Cent and Ja Rule, you know, him getting shot 9 times, a lot of people say is because of that. Game and 50 Cent, when they were, when they were beefing, there was a shootout again in front of Hot 97.
Yeah.
When NWA and Cube were beefing, Jack the Rapper fights and stuff like that.
Definitely.
When Luke and Dre and Death Row were beefing, a bunch of people got stabbed in Miami. Like, you could keep going on and on and on and on and on. And even, I don't know if you talked about this before, but I had mentioned this on my show. There was a situation where you and Quik had a show and a big fight broke out and someone got stabbed to death?
No, I didn't. I wasn't there.
You weren't there. You know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, definitely. Quik had a show.
Quik had a show.
At the El Rey.
Okay, Mob James was there also. So you know about the situation?
Yeah, I was there.
So describe to me what happened.
When it broke out fast. DJ Quik started throwing shit. All the homies started fighting different individuals.
No, okay, was DJ Quik down with y'all, or was he just there by himself?
No, he was with everybody. He was with us. He was
because DJ Quik was fucking with Death Row at one point.
Yeah, all of us was together. So
okay.
That 60 pounds and all that bullshit, throw that shit out the window. All of us was there together, and he had got into it with a cat. I didn't know if they was Crips or whatever. And then now you hear cats throwing up and saying they hoods. So all the homies doing that. Now, at the end of the day, everybody in there drinking and all this shit. So it went haywire. Me and Suge was at the stage. And I stayed at the foot of the stage while Suge and some chick was up there. So Suge didn't get into that.
Yeah. Well, he didn't say he was getting into it. He actually was trying to get everyone out.
Right. No, he was on the stage. He wasn't trying to do shit.
Okay.
The police let the shit happen. The security that was there couldn't do shit.
There's just too many people.
It was too many people when it was chairs, bottles, and everything else, glass and everything else thrown in that motherfucker.
Yeah, and it was some of my people who attended the show.
Okay.
And like I said, when a lot of that though was from our situation stemmed from a lot from just gangbanging shit. You get me?
Yeah.
We were Crips, they were Bloods. That shit had been going on in the city from who knows when. It didn't even have to be a rap song out, you feel me? And if Crips is somewhere where Bloods are affiliating or vice versa, you probably have a situation if it's not organized like we see today. People can come together and congregate. But like I said, my shit stemmed from gangbanging. It could have stayed rap shit, but when you start mentioning sets and blocks and other that, and then like I said, all of that, a lot of it was neighborhood affiliated. 50 was neighborhood affiliated. Game, neighborhood affiliated. It's not gonna be no rap songs. You feel me? As far as a LL Cool J and a Kool Moe Dee type of situation, where we just gonna rap and battle each other and I'm the hardest, and we gonna throw. A lot of rap battles have came without there being violence. But when you associate the streets to your motherfucking heritage of where you come from, you can't live that shit down. It's hard to. So yeah, you got Above the Law with Cube in there, right, and their fights, and me and Quik situations, and a lot of that was because of we feeling like fuck that. My street heritage is not gonna let me settle with just making a fucking rap song. You get me? If I can get close enough or I can do some damage, that's what we gonna do. Because even if I wasn't rapping, if that situation had promoted itself, Crips and Bloods fight each other, shoot at each other, kill at each other, as cliques and crews across the world do. You feel me? And that's besides rap music. You get me?
When you heard about that situation that your people were at and someone died, got stabbed to death, from what I understand, and then Suge spoke about it on his podcast, where I think he paid like $80,000 to the victim's family.
Yeah, I don't know about all of that, but I knew. I had a couple of friends who attended the show, and the fight broke out, and the situation happened, and it was unfortunate because at first, like I said, it was hard to sustain or become stable when rap music was concerned. You get me? I went through the situations to where I couldn't get a song played on the radio because of what we represented. I couldn't get video plays. I didn't get acknowledged for this or that or that or that. So it put a bad stain as far as hip hop to me. You get me? Because when I got into hip hop, it was for the love of the music. I was already gang banging, so that wasn't it. I got into hip hop because it was something that I felt as a young black man growing up in, you know, the 80s in Compton, where everything was drive-bys and claiming the set. It was a way for motherfuckers to be able to express themselves without expressing themselves. So I just looked at it as it was a bad, you know, it was a bad situation. Because not only did the homies, you know, were involved, and they had nothing to do with no rap music, you know what I'm saying? They were, so to speak, innocent bystanders to niggas like when you come by and drive by and the innocent getting shot, you get me? This was some shit that formed out of a misunderstanding between me and Quik. And then it turned into where now you got hoods and neighborhoods involved. And then we still trying to make a career and trying to present ourselves as you know, wasn't no niggas cutting the checks and signing the motherfucking record deals. So we trying to present ourselves to be good hip hop artists to the labels and shit. And you got niggas out here getting killed and dying and shit like that because of our representation from the streets. But that's what we did. Like I try to tell people, before rap came along, niggas was gangbanging. That's what we did. You know, there was no, oh, I'm rapping now, so I'm gonna start claiming the hood and start doing this and doing that. No, that was already here. So the way to get out was to try to start making records. But you can't run from situations when you're still in them. You know what I'm saying? I was still going in the neighborhood every day. I still wanted to represent the streets. I still wanted to represent the neighborhood. I still wanted to represent Tragnew Park. So I didn't look at it like, man, you're a rap artist and you got fans and people whoop-de-whoop. I didn't give a fuck about that shit.
Well, you had talked about how your mom lived across the street from Suge's mom.
Yeah, in the later days.
Yeah.
We used to live in a neighborhood called Spooktown. And then once I started rapping, whatever, mom's moved over to Linwood. And just so happened she moved across the street from Suge's mom. So, I didn't never feel that it was tension, you get me? Even though I had the little situation going on with Quik and whatever, I never felt tension with my mom living over there because by that time I was fucking with other blood dudes, you know. My DJ was a blood, Mike T. I had done videos in the jungle. I knew a lot of blood dudes. So I didn't have the sense of as if I was 19 or, you know, 18, truly gangbanging and in fear of situations. Suge pulled me over one night, even though me and Quik had our thing going. He just assured me that everything would be straight over there. So,
because he was managing Quik at one
yes,
point.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, that was at the height of me and Quik's situation. So he just assured me that it wouldn't be a problem with my mom living there.
Well, before you guys, you know, you and Quik started going at it, Quik was doing underground tapes in Compton. And he had that song Blondie.
Yes.
Do you remember bumping Blondie?
Hearing
it, or?
I remember Mike T having the tape, and we used to play the tape all the time. We used to play it at the studio, you know. Even though, you know, it was a few references on there about Compton's Most Wanted, I still was like, shit, he from Compton. And at that time, you know, we was trying to uplift Compton as far as hip hop is concerned. We're trying to follow in the footsteps of Easy and NWA. So I was down for everybody who was on Compton's list. Toddy T, Spade, Quik was on, you know, he had his underground tape, you know. So like I said in the beginning, it was just friendly rap banter to me.
Right, but I think like Blondie was an interesting song because, yeah, you had NWA's Fuck the Police. But they're not specifically saying
the
name of the police officer.
Let me tell you something. our police department was treacherous, man.
Right. And I've interviewed some of these guys. I've interviewed Blondie. You know what I'm saying?
Our police, and everybody knew the jump out boys, man. They was not playing with you, and to know the police by name, Blondie had a reputation in the hoods, man. Real tough.
Yeah. I mean, look, he basically said that I'm going to shoot you in your back. He's talking about an actual working police officer
Compton
in the
PD
city
was
where he's
treacherous,
living.
Man, Compton PD was treacherous. If you was on the block as a young teenager serving or gang banging, Compton PD come through, it was finna be hell to pay, man. Yeah, Blondie and them was no joke.
So you knew Blondie personally?
I didn't know him personally, but he damn sure used to come through the hood. We knew him. Like,
you saw him, you recognized
we knew
him.
Blondie. Like, yes, yeah. If you was in the hood and you was affiliated back then, yes, indeed. You knew who they were.
Right. I interviewed, Blondie, a.k.a. Timothy Brennan, as well as Robert Ladd together. And then, Blondie had passed away a few years ago.
Right.
So Robert Ladd came in and did a follow-up interview with me maybe about 6 months ago. And, they actually said that they had to do security for DJ Quik at one point later on. And when they essentially confronted him, not forcibly, but basically was like, yo, like, what's up with that song? And he was like, oh man, that was just music.
Yeah, just try to tell tales, man.
I'm just doing some raps. He
Exactly.
wasn't trying to say, I'm really trying to kill you.
Well, they probably took it personal.
Well,
because
I'm sure.
shit,
no one wants to hear a song like that.
They probably took it personal, but, they caused a lot of havoc in the neighborhoods, man. Real tough.
Well, yeah, Robert Ladd said at one point, Orlando Anderson actually tried to kill him, actually shot at him. And they weren't able to get the case to stick. Orlando was actually investigated for multiple murders that he was allegedly involved in. By the time the Tupac thing came around later.
Somebody should be making a movie with them. The crooked cops or something.
The
Something should be going
movie?
down, the corrupts or whatever. That'd probably be a good-ass motherfucking TV series right now,
I'm
man.
sure it would.
I'm telling you. You did a motherfucking story on the history of Compton PD and made it a movie where they knew all the rap niggas and the gangbangers and the top drug dealers and all that. That motherfucker will fly, man. Let me stop giving out my info.
Well, no, WAC 100 tried to buy Orlando's life rights at one point. I think Orlando has daughters or something. I think his mom is still alive as well. You knew him personally.
I knew him. I went to school. My people, cousins were from the South. So before, anything was whatever, being a young kid growing up in Compton, I used to roam around, and the South was a place that I used to go to because of the homie, I used to be real friends with the homie Dirter. We used to go to Dominguez High School. So I used to see Orlando around all the time. Just dudes was just trying to be kids, man. We was growing up in a situation that we couldn't control, and it was either you belonged or you got fucked over. So everybody got affiliated and everybody started claiming their hoods, and that's what it was, man. That was just life in Compton. Not to say it was bad, man. I've had great times as a kid living in Compton, bike riding and playing murder ball in the street and shit like that.
Murder ball?
Yeah.
What is murder ball?
Man, where you just get a gang of motherfuckers, man, and you just throw the football up and whoever catch it, they got to try to make it to the touchdown. You get tackled by everybody. We would play that shit in the streets.
That game in my elementary school, and of course, the name doesn't age very well in 2024, but it was called Smear the Queer. You would throw up a football, whoever caught it would be the queer, and everyone would just try to smear him and just try to tackle him. And then if you got to, before you hit the ground, you could throw it up, and then someone else would grab it. But it's the same game, essentially, right?
We used to play that shit on the streets or in the neighbor's yard, man, and like I said, bike riding to the dairy and just trying to be a kid, man, But like I said, living in Compton, man, as you grew up, and you went from those childhood years to being able to focus and see what's going around you and it was a hard life, man. But like I said, I wouldn't trade it for shit because it taught us a lot.
Well, I believe since our last interview, the Keefe D interview happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then some years later, you fast forward 2023, and where we are now, Keefe D is now arrested and awaiting trial for his involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Did you watch my interview when I first dropped it?
I watched some of it. Yes, I did.
What did you think? By the way, did you know Keefe D?
I didn't know Keefe D. I knew he was from the South, though.
Okay, you knew of him. You knew of him?
Yes.
Okay, but you didn't know him personally?
No.
Okay. You watched part of that video, and this was the first time Keefe really sat down and told kind of the whole story. And I based it off his book. I already had a copy of his book in my hands by the time I did that interview. When you watched it, what did you think?
Look, I'm just like everybody else. I come from a school of there's certain things you don't do. There's certain things you don't say, you don't talk about. The generation of social media and podcasting and all that has taken us in a different direction. I guess, he felt like it was okay to write the book and to speak on the situation. I've always been told, like, regardless, you just don't talk about certain shit that has been done. Why he felt comfortable enough to speak on that situation, who knows? I didn't think it was a good look not as far as for the interview itself, but just these are situations that sometimes you just have to be quiet about because you don't know who's still watching and who's ready to pounce on you about certain situations. If you've ever been involved with something like that, you were always told to keep your mouth shut. I mean, that's what I grew up off of, I've never been told, once it goes down and maybe 20, 30 years later, it's okay to open up and tell your story or whatever, but some things should just remain private. So I just thought, and like a lot of people thought, it was crazy to see, speaking on it, so I don't think it was a good look for him.
Were you surprised when he actually got locked up for it?
No.
No.
I mean, because murder has no statute of limitations.
Right.
And if you're involving yourself in a murder, I don't give a fuck if it's 40 years later. If you're involving yourself in it and you giving up details to being present at the scene of the murder, and you know how they gonna do you. You either gonna come in here the minute that motherfucking shit happened and tell, or we gonna motherfucking conspiracy your ass. So I don't think it should have done it. Because like you said, with no statute of limitations on murders, you just basically giving them the opportunity to go back, reopen, investigate. And now if they want to just put two and two together, they just gonna do it. You were involved. You were there. You were in the car. You saw the pistol. You heard the shots. You saw you get me? You can't get away from that.
There's a lot of gray area over that situation because the version that Keefe said has kind of been picked apart. Keefe's the only living person in that car.
Definitely.
So no one else could really speak on it outside of him, or maybe something that Suge saw as it was happening. And Suge is not really speaking on it. And you actually comment on this because one of the things that Keefe said when he confessed to, on those tapes was that I guess Big Dre was given the gun first.
Yeah, I heard that.
You commented on this.
Yeah, I heard that.
You said, you explained why, Dre didn't shoot when Keefe gave him the weapon. What's your take on that?
Like I said, I wasn't there, so I can't actually speak for, but my train of thought is probably like, I don't know. Maybe it's not feeling like it's my beef. You know, I don't know. To be presented in that situation, I don't know. Sometimes dudes think about shit. And Big Dre, you know, I know Big Dre.
So you knew him personally?
Yeah,
He
I was
passed
trying to
away.
do music with Big Dre. He was starting a label. I think he had a record label.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Runoff Records, or if I believe.
Right, I think Suge even commented how, I guess, Daz and Snoop basically did some music with Dre after Tupac's murder.
Yeah.
And he kind of criticized them over that, you know, for whatever it's worth.
You know, some dudes, like I said, when you gang banging and you get into this life, you know, everybody think, you know, everybody's treacherous murder killer ass, you know, no motherfucking heart, just the evilest of the evil. A lot of motherfuckers, you know, they have brains and they have minds and they think of the future. And they try to avoid situations and shit. Like I said, I can't speak for Big Dre. I don't know what his train of thought was at the time.
What was Big Dre like?
To me, he was cool. You know, he was a cool dude. He represented his section, but he was a dude who was willing to reach out and fuck with people. You get me? They reached out to me. Like you said, he was probably getting down with Snoop and them on some shit. My thing is, if you can show niggas respect, man, niggas will respect you back. And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what situations happened in the past, if we can kind of get over that, learn to respect each other as men, motherfuckers is cool. A lot of people that you might think that was just, man, I would never fuck with that nigga. I found like, niggas is cool as fuck.
Well, yeah, a lot of times money lubricates the friction.
I mean, money can stop the friction on everything. If we can get money together, man, I can respect you all on that note.
Well, right, because Suge paid Orlando to testify in his case to say that Suge wasn't kicking him. It didn't work.
Exactly.
But
I mean, you got video,
that you got
but the fact
guy
that
who allegedly killed your biggest artist, you know, you're paying him after the fact.
You don't want to say money is just the root of all, and you're going to do whatever, but if a person is willing to try to settle situations, you get me, and you're going to compensate me and maybe make my situation a little better than it is, then, you know, we might have to look at them alternatives, man. You feel me?
Well, I mean, during the grand jury, before Keefe actually got arrested, one of the guys that spoke was this guy named Dirt Rock, who was part of the South Side. And I believe he told on Keefe and a bunch of other people as well. Well, Keefe for sure. I don't know about anyone else. And me and Dirt Rock have had multiple conversations. In the grand jury, Dirt Rock said that he actually lived with Big Dre at one point. They were like roommates. And what he said was that Dre was actually the shooter, but when they got back to Compton, he didn't want to take the heat of killing one of the biggest celebrities on earth. And it made more sense for Orlando to have been the shooter anyways because of how he got jumped. So he just basically let him run with the story. And someone I talked to that was in the car behind Suge and Tupac said that they saw a big, beefy arm sticking out the window when fired the gun. It wasn't a skinny arm. Orlando was skinny. So now granted, things are happening split second and it's violence and it's crazy. So, you know, you can't really count on this, but this is a theory that has come out that unless Keefe comes out and actually flat out says it, you know, or maybe Suge says something, we'll never really know. But does something like this seem plausible to you in your head?
I don't like to go off theories.
Okay.
Because theories always fuck you up in the end. Because they never come out to be true.
Right.
You feel me?
Right, but this is someone saying it. This is someone who claims that they have inside information.
And that's his information, and that's for him to run with.
Right.
It's not for me to discredit his information because I ain't there.
Right.
I don't know who did what. You feel me? I know just about as much as everybody else knows and what their opinion might be of the situation. And like I said, that would be plausible because of, you know, Orlando's the one that got jumped, or, you know, Baby Lane was the one that was always, you know, associated with it. So but it's not my it's not in my path to do theories.
Right.
Because you know what I'm saying? Everybody has one. And everybody's theory is different from what it might be. And if you're not a part of it and you're not right there, then you just giving an opinion to what an already difficult situation.
Well, yeah, I felt like before I did the Keefe interview and I laid out the whole story from beginning to end, I felt like a large percentage of the hip hop world thought that Suge got Tupac killed. Another big part thought the government got Tupac killed. And another big part thinks he's still alive. He's living in Cuba. And it's like, okay, all that is nonsense, right? I mean, number one, the car was riddled with bullets from front to back.
People want to believe shit, man.
Right. I mean, if I wanted to have you killed, I wouldn't go take a drive with you and have someone shoot up the car.
Exactly.
From front to back and hope that you're the only one that gets hit. Because Suge actually got grazed in the head.
Exactly.
You know, when I interviewed Chris Carroll, the first responder, he said that Suge was literally squirting blood out of his head. He said it was chaos when he showed up.
People like to, people like to imagine their theories. You get me? Like you said, that would be kind of crazy for me to want to pay somebody to kill somebody, but then I'm standing next to him, like
and I'm twice their size.
Just try
He's
not
a little
to hit
guy, and I'm
try not to hit me when you drive by. But
I'm 280 pounds. You're 140 pounds.
Literally, I'm gonna be sitting right next to him. So
he's not even in the back seat. He's right there next to me in the front
I didn't know
seat.
he was like, no military marksman, know, that you could hit somebody with moving targets passing and not hit them. You get me? So conspiracy theories are what they are, man. It's to give your brain an imagination of what could have or what you want to articulate. But it is what it is, man. You got to understand reality. You get me?
Well, yeah. I mean, you said based on what you know about Orlando that if he didn't get Tupac that night, he would have gotten him eventually.
I mean, let me tell you something. Gang banging is what it is. It's what it is. What we is. I mean, we grew up gang banging. Everybody knew the codes to follow of gang banging. Most of the times in situations when somebody hits you, you're gonna hit them back. It could be today. It could be tomorrow. It could be a year from now, and those beefs sustain through time. So, I mean, if you getting jumped, I mean, your natural thought is, man, we're gonna get the motherfuckers back, especially you know who they are. Whenever you're presented with the opportunity, you get me? That's anybody. That's now. You can get jumped right now by 4 or 5 people. If you know who initiated it, then, oh, okay, I'm gonna see them again one day. It might not be today, tomorrow. Man, I could be on vacation somewhere chilling and see a motherfucker walking across the hall. You get me? Your mentality is gonna be, I'm gonna get a motherfucker when I see him. So, and especially if you live by the code of hood niggas and gang affiliation and whatever, you can't let a motherfucker strike you without the intent of getting yours back. And that's gonna be within we gonna jump a nigga, catch him at a club, we gonna drive by the studio, whatever. It happens.
Well, you said that you don't believe that Diddy was involved in Tupac's murder at all.
Now, I'm not gonna say I don't believe, but I'm not gonna say it couldn't happen.
Well, I mean, according to the story, Diddy was having problems with Death Row, obviously, and he was having, it was like
everybody knew they was beefing.
Everybody
knew they was beefing. Everybody knew Suge called Puffy out at the Source Awards. It was high tension. How deep that went, I don't know.
Right. I mean, what Puffy would do, and I've talked to who was like maybe I think Gene Deal may have told me this, was that they wouldn't like hire Southside Crips as security, but he'd be like, hey, Biggie's doing a show, here's 50 tickets. Invite all the homies.
Definitely.
So now it looks like you got this big gang presence with you that you're not actually paying for it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that kind of stuff was happening. And according to Greg Kading, there was a meeting at Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset where Keefe was there, a couple other, Crips were there, and Puffy was like, man, I'm sick of these dudes. Like, I'll give $1 million to anyone who just make them go away. Now, was this an actual hit? Like, yo, I'm really gonna whatever? Or it might have been just a dude that's frustrated and just talking shit in the moment, might be high or drunk or whatever. But that's what they say the whole thing is. And then Keefe in his book basically said that after Pac got shot, Diddy called him and said, was that us? Whether that happened, whether that did happen, you're not gonna be able to pull phone records from 1996.
No.
So that part doesn't matter. And then the whole thing of this whole $1 million payment, the story goes that Puffy gave the money to Eric Von Zip, who allegedly provided the gun that night and knew both people. And Von Zip kept the money and bought a nightclub. And he did actually buy a nightclub right around that time. Eric Von Zip is dead now, so we're not implicating anybody who's actually alive. It's a very weird, convoluted story. But ultimately,
that's a lot of made for TV shit.
Yeah,
it's a lot of made for TV movie shit.
Yes, it's a lot.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfect script right there. You know, I mean, if you put it down, you know, the money, the nightclub, all that type of shit. Like I said, people with money can put themselves in different positions than people without. Do people with that type of money do shit to put themselves in maybe some fucked up situations that might lead to people believing? Yeah, they do. Let's face it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weirdos with a gang of money.
Right.
There's a lot of motherfuckers with a gang of money who think they can get away with shit.
A lot of people with a gang of money that have gotten away with shit. Let's not forget that part. Let's not forget that part.
I mean, like I said, to be naive and think that it couldn't happen, that would be, you know, that would be a stretch. But who knows? I mean, if he was in fear of Suge and Death Row, as far as what? You know, they were loud. They were stamping their position. What though would make you want to offer somebody $1 million to get rid of some dudes? Why? Because they was rapping and disgracing and talking about Bad Boy, and I mean, you know, why would you want to pay somebody to get rid of motherfuckers who wasn't really doing anything physically to you? They wasn't stopping any of your money.
There were some altercations where guns were drawn.
Okay,
that
happens. That happens in regular shit.
Right, but that would still put a lot of fear in you. If you're around a whole bunch of bloods and people are pulling guns out and you don't know whether you're going to walk out that room or not.
At this point,
remember the whole Soul Train Award situation.
Okay, but happened. Me as a nigga with $100 million, I'm not fearing no niggas surrounding me in no room. I am too much money and too much powerful for anything to happen and think a nigga gonna get away with it. Straight up. Straight up, man.
Suge was terrorizing a lot of people with a lot of money back then. He was going into record labels.
Terrorizing a motherfucker and actually doing shit is two different things. You could talk shit all day and try to punk a nigga. That's what niggas do. I'm gonna punk you and I'm gonna talk shit to you.
Okay,
what you gotta do is stand up. And nigga, I got just as much as you, so what? What we gonna do, shoot out? We gonna keep killing each other?
Did you hear about the Vanilla Ice situation? Shit?
I heard about
I interviewed Vanilla Ice about it firsthand and got the real story.
Okay. He was getting punked.
Vanilla Ice
the whole
had
chocolate situation.
The whole chocolate record.
The whole chocolate situation.
This dude Chocolate claimed he co-wrote the record.
I know Chocolate.
You know Chocolate personally.
I know Chocolate personally.
So you've had these conversations with him.
I have not had these conversations, but I know Chocolate personally.
So Suge got with Chocolate and decided that he's going to get Chocolate's money.
Right.
So
something about the songs for Vanilla Ice.
The Chocolate wrote it and he never got the credit. Okay. On 2 occasions, Vanilla Ice would be in LA, like at a Benihana. Suge would just show up at the Benihana, sit down with him, start eating his food right off his plate, and basically say, "Hey, I'm around. I'm gonna come see you again."
Okay.
On the third time, Vanilla Ice showed up in his hotel room with his 2 security guards. Suge and a few other dudes were already in his room, already there inside the room. Suge grabbed the guns, or Suge or one of his guys grabbed Vanilla Ice's security's guns from them and slapped him up. And then he took Vanilla Ice to the balcony, didn't hold him off the balcony, but basically explained to him that you should sign these documents and, you know, all these problems will go away. And Vanilla Ice signed those documents.
Okay.
Let's not forget the Eazy-E situation. How Eazy-E was allegedly forced to sign over Dr. Dre to death row, and then later on said, no, that was under duress. So clearly something happened where whatever he signed, he was forced to sign on some level. So Suge has a history of this type of thing.
Right, and then he has a history of not being able to do that to certain people. So you have to be able to, if that's the situation you in, the first time it happened to me, if I was Vanilla Ice, it would have never happened again. Because first of all, I wouldn't have been slipping to the fact of having 2 bodyguards when I know a nigga got a whole hood. Maybe I don't even come to LA.
Yeah.
You get me? You got to be stinking smart. You can't be thinking that your money is going to get you out of certain situations. As far as with Eazy, you know, Eazy was his own man. So he wasn't intimidated, and that led to whatever the situation that was. He didn't feel like I needed 100 bodyguards and shit like that. Vanilla Ice, you know, I tell a nigga all the time, if a nigga can punk you, he gonna punk you. That's just it. If he can get away with it and he gonna do it the first time, it's gonna happen every time if you don't stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
So, but Suge was an intimidating figure. You get me? He's a big motherfucker. And if Suge coming, he coming with about maybe 5 to 10, maybe 15 niggas with him. So you gonna be intimidated.
Yeah.
Shit. When they pulled up on me by my mom's house, it was about 5, 6 carloads of niggas. You get me?
Carloads?
Yeah.
So you're talking about what, like 20 people?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And you were by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they stopped me on the side street by the car wash. By the laundromat. We just had a simple discussion, you know, and that was it. But, you know, Suge was in the streets like that. So you got to be rolling with 4, 5 carloads of niggas when you moving like that in the streets.
Well, you said that Biggie's murder was a setup and a hit. It wasn't over Tupac blaming him for the Quad Studio situation.
It was a setup. I mean, they followed him they knew he was at the Peterson, the automotive shit. It was the whole plot then. I mean, that was the, you know, it wasn't just anything random. Everybody knows that. Shit. Who did it or how or whatever, I have no knowledge of that. But that was a hit. It wasn't like just a random drive-by or, you know, we see the opposition outside, so we gon', you know, it was a hit.
Well, for the longest time, I mean, I've always said since the Keefe interview that I solved Tupac's murder, because to me, all the pieces fit together when I interviewed Keefe, right? I didn't really solve it. Only the police could solve it.
Right.
So I'm speaking tongue-in-cheek.
Your theory is more...
My theory, I felt, is the most solid theory
Okay.
and told the best story. But for the longest time, I said I don't really know who killed Biggie because I wasn't getting clear, consistent stories. But since that time...
But you've talked to James and Reggie.
I've talked to a few people. So most recently, Wack 100 came on my show. He's now a regular guest on Vlad TV. And he said that a mob Pyru named Poochie was the one that was paid to kill Biggie. Poochie's dead, by the way. So
I've
we're not putting a murder.
Yeah, I've
We're
been
not putting a murder on
watching
someone.
the whole story of the death row murders, and you know, rest in peace Buntry, and you know, Heron and all. I've been watching that lately, and that was some interesting shit going on around there at that time.
Did you know who Poochie was at all?
I'd read about Poochie. I knew Poochie was, you know, with the whole thing, the Poochie and the George and all. Man, I've watched it all, man. It's an interesting story.
It's an interesting story. Wack 100 went on tape and said it was Poochie and he was paid. He said it had to do with some East Coast politics. You know, Eric Von Zip was somehow tied into that story.
Is the one that they killed by Buntry's house, right? Him and his girlfriend.
He got killed sometime after that.
Okay, okay.
So Poochie's dead. But Whack 100 on tape said it was Poochie. After that interview, because I remember my first interview with Vanilla Ice, he said, yeah, I know who killed Biggie. So my second interview, I said, well, Whack 100 said it was Poochie. He said, yep, that's what I heard too. When I asked about Poochie with Mob James, he said, yep, that would make the most sense. I know who Poochie was. He was known to do that. Greg Kading said it was Poochie as well.
Okay.
So you're having everyone say one after another that it's Poochie.
The shooter was paid to do that, right? He's dead, right? And it was
The guy who shot Biggie.
Yeah, he's
And
dead.
you're saying you know who that is?
Everybody know who that is, right? He's sitting there.
Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
So can you say who it
He's
is?
dead. Named Poochie.
Who do you think killed Biggie?
I think Poochie was involved. I think Suge Knight orchestrated it through his, at the time, girlfriend / baby mama. I think she was the intermediary between Suge and at least one of the co-conspirators. I do believe Poochie was directly involved.
When you hear that name Poochie, does it sound familiar at all?
Yep.
Or, yeah?
Yep. My answer.
When you hear the theory that Poochie was the shooter, what is your take on it?
Right on.
Now remember, there was the Muslim guy, Amir Muhammad, which
Yeah,
always
they said
seemed
the
like
dude with the bow tie.
the bow tie.
and-
That always seemed like a shaky story to me. I've never had a bunch of people tell me that.
And
But the
wasn't he
Poochie-
supposed to be an ex-cop or a cop off duty or some shit
he
like
went
that?
to go visit one of the dirty cops
Okay.
in jail at one point. That's how they're trying to somehow, I think it was probably the Rampart guys or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this Poochie thing keeps coming back up. And to me, I'm going to say that this seems like the likely person. Now, who is behind it? I'm not sure. I'm not going to say it's Suge. I'm not going to say it's Puffy. I'm not going to, I don't know why Puffy would kill his biggest artist. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense, I don't know. But Poochie was known to do this and is now dead. His death may have been tied to that murder. I don't know. But it's a very intriguing story.
Yeah, it's very intriguing because they were putting in work. And like I said, I don't ever speak on another neighborhood's politics because the inner workings of whatever's going on in their hoods, you can never figure out being on the outside. So just respect to all them brothers who lost their lives.
Yeah.
The situation is treacherous. Like I said, I knew a lot of Linwood dudes. My auntie lived in Linwood, where the mob was. A lot of cross-Atlantic dudes, I'm cool with. This life ain't easy, man, when you get into this situation. And you never know what road it might lead you down.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
No, I mean, that whole situation, I remember my first interview with Mob James, when he was crying during the interview, just talking about how Buntry, his brother got killed. And a lot of those guys that were down with Suge started turning against each other and started killing each other.
Yeah, I knew Buntry.
Yeah.
Cool dude. Like I said, it's just unfortunate because you never know, And then when it starts getting with people with money, like I said, when that money come into play, man, money puts you in a different situation than you would have been in. You get me? A lot of people's attitudes and personalities change when money's involved. And when you got a long pocketbook,
Yeah.
You go from being a regular dude to, being a motherfucker sitting on $200 million, you never know, man, what could happen. Just got to know who you running with, what circle you in, because the closest people will be the ones that try to do you in, man.
Well, yeah, speaking of that, a lot of people turn against Diddy. I interviewed Roger Bonds, who was his head of security for like 10 years.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, he told me some fairly crazy stories. And you said that Diddy can't recover from the weirdo allegations. People don't want to be associated with him anymore.
No, you can't have weirdo allegations against you. It's already bad enough when you get caught on camera, being abusive to females.
What'd you think of that video when you saw it?
I thought it was typical of some dudes who can't control women and power. Power is rough for dudes. Power makes you feel like everybody should be, in a certain position when it comes to you. Power makes you feel like people should take whatever because you are in that position. And unfortunately, like I said, money makes motherfuckers do weird shit. And but you might have just been weird from the get-go. and money gives you the comfortability to go, now I can do all that weird shit because people expect it. You feel me?
Well, yeah. I mean, like when you watch that video, and this was at the Intercontinental, and I remember I did a tweet, and I'm like, why is Diddy staying at the Intercontinental? Because that's like a 4-star hotel, and he's worth hundreds of millions. Usually people like that stay at the Ritz or the Mandarin or whatever. And people started to reply, and I remember this one woman who used to work for the Intercontinental said, no. Diddy would rent out the whole floor. She's like, I've seen this multiple times. Because if you look at that video, he doesn't seem like he's concerned with anyone coming out their door.
No.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, no. Tyler,
he's throwing vases and shit. This is a public hotel. Like, you got to think. There could be another 100 people on that floor that are hearing this ruckus that would clearly open their door.
People would come
to
out,
see what would happen. And then, it's not that long ago. People still have camera phones, whatever else. He looked like he was totally at home, doing whatever he wanted to do, making as much noise, beating up this, girl without any ramifications, and then just buying the tape afterwards. But that's what I think was happening. He bought out the whole floor. Like, if you got enough power, just...
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. He's in that position.
He's in that position,
He can do that. As far as, like you said, buying the tape and all that, and why somebody decided, let's let this fly today, who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know if somebody felt like, I need to make me some bread, or just wanting to expose him.
Yeah, that's always been my thing about extortion. Whenever...
Like what?
Like someone trying to extort me, I just said, do whatever you got to do.
Yeah,
I'm not going to keep paying you forever.
Because
just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Because if you make the first payment, you're never going to stop paying.
You're never going to stop.
So
they're going to spend the money and come back for more money. So just go ahead, do what you got to do. I'm going to deal with the ramifications. Yeah. I'm not going to be your slave for the next 20 years.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be your ATM machine. Do what you got to do.
Because that's what's going to happen. You make the first payment that you're going to keep paying. So
exactly.
I guess you just have to stand up and be like, fuck it. Do what you're going to do.
Yeah, do what you got to do. I'm going to stand behind it.
I mean, unfortunately, you can't get away from that. Like I said, and you in that position. If you done something, that motherfucking treacherous. But, I mean, he ain't the first. You get me? He ain't the first who's been abusive towards women. We have forgiven people for a lot more crazier shit than being abusive towards women.
Oh, yeah, Chris Brown is still a megastar.
So, what really was the underlining factor in wanting to really put him in the spotlight of being this type of person? With the raids and the Cassie situation. Somebody felt really like, I don't know, like, did they want a bigger payday, or did they feel as human justice, I gotta just expose this dude, man?
Well,
like, it just ain't right. I gotta expose him for what I've known he's done to women and co-workers and employees. Man, we just gotta set this dude on blast, man. Or was it vice versa? Was it like, man, I need to get paid, so I'm gonna just expose some shit?
Well, a lot of people are involved, so I think it's both. Because Roger Bonds went into detail about other women that Diddy has physically assaulted, and these are actually true stories. Like one of the women I've heard, like firsthand accounts from her about how he like his personal chef, he like literally threw her out the door, like Fresh Prince, like you know what I'm saying, like that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he got pissed off at her. Yeah, man, listen, I don't know. And at this point, we don't know what he's even charged with, if anything.
Right.
There is a grand jury and there is an investigation, but he gonna have $100 million put aside. He's got a
definitely.
big,
You already
huge
know
legal
that.
team, private investigators, the whole nine. That's gonna do what they can to keep him out of prison. Because he's, in his 50s at this point. He don't want to do any jail time.
Oh, no, he definitely ain't trying to go to jail.
Not
But
one day.
Hopefully, like I said, it only reaches to being freaky and weird. And
there's nothing illegal
there's
about
no
that.
illegal about being freaky and weird.
No,
you know
listen,
what I'm
if
saying?
you want to jack off while your girlfriend fucks a dude.
Now, if you've been trafficking young girls and sliding people drugs and shit like that, then that's another thing.
But a lot of that is so gray area.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, okay, you talking to a girl, you gonna fly her out, and y'all gonna have sex, you give her some money. Is that trafficking or is that dating? Like, you know what I mean? There is a line between it.
Right.
But it could be,
if it's not forcibly done, like,
right.
how can I?
You're giving people drugs. Are you saying none of them wanted the drugs? Really? No one likes cocaine?
It was just on the table.
It was on the
Help
table.
yourself. You can either do it or not do it.
Yeah,
So,
listen, Roger Bond said that, he personally saw year after year, Cassie and Diddy would have these 3-day, 4-day drug binges. They would go to the hotels by themselves, take drugs. That's when the male escorts would show up and have these freak-offs. And then after that, they would go get IVs to try to recover from these binges. And this would go on for years. We all know drug addict couples who fight each other all the time, high off drugs. Someone took their drugs and something. Shit, I mean, Mystical's in jail right now for allegedly raping his baby mother because he thinks in his drugged out trance that she stole some money from him or something. You know what I mean? Like, this happens all the time.
It's unfortunate. Like I said, you never know what type of lives a motherfucker's on.
Yeah.
And even before they have all this stature and money, you never know. They just, like I said, they might just been weirdos from the gate.
Right.
And it took this position to get them comfortable enough to go, I'm finna let all this shit hang out now. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna let all this weirdo shit hang out right now. Fuck it. I got $100 million. I'm gonna have freak fest parties, and then you hold motherfuckers to a standard that are around you to where they got to be hush or sign contracts and not tell about the weirdness. That's just an everyday thing for them. You get me?
A lot of stuff crosses my desk. A lot of people come and want to do interviews and tell their stories, some of which we do, a lot of which we don't, because, whatever. But, one of the stories we heard from someone that was part of these freak-offs, I'm not going to say who it is or who was involved, but basically what they said was Diddy just liked to watch porn, while having sex. So he took it one step further and would actually have people instead of watching porn, he would actually have people do porn in front of him while he would masturbate.
Yeah,
that just became his thing.
Yeah,
that just became his thing. And then, with that, you just seen your girl get smashed out by some dude, and then, you may feel some type of way about it, but it might be suppressed. And, there's a lot going on, and drugs are in the picture. He's going in and out of rehab. That's established.
That's those other drugs, man. I might smoke some weed, man.
That's it.
That's those other drugs.
When it comes to my sexual exploits, it's weed, and that's it. And that's it.
I don't want to see nobody freaking on my girl while I'm sitting in the corner with an elephant mask on and shit.
Shout out to my man Adam 22. That's his thing. Adam is my friend.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing what he's doing.
Adam's in that freaky shit.
He's into that
jump on that
shit.
freaky side. I don't want to see nobody fucking my girl.
No.
And I'm asshole naked sitting in the corner and shit off of mushrooms and moonbeams and shit. And weirdos is running around and shit. It's just that's a little bit too much for me, man. Yeah, I'm a normal nigga, man. I'm a normal nigga. Yeah,
I'm a regular white boy.
I'm just normal. I might just feel myself fucking my old girl or some shit. That's it. That's about as freaky as you might need. Fuck it.
Well, Adam 22, he just interviewed Pop Smoke's killer or someone involved.
Yeah, my boy was talking to me about that
Guy
today.
named Blockstar, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
He just got out of prison. He was a minor.
Yeah,
when
that's
it
what
happened.
he
he only got a few years. Now, it's not exactly clear what his role was.
Right.
It would seem to me that he probably wasn't the trigger man, but he might have been the getaway driver.
Yeah, I don't think he was the trigger.
Yeah. A lot of people are upset over Adam over this interview. How did you personally feel about it?
I haven't watched it. My boy was on my way up here. He talked to me for about 30 minutes about it.
Okay, so you have an overall...
He didn't like it. He was feeling like, why give this dude a platform? Something about, it was being quoted saying like, yeah, of course, he shouldn't have gave his location or whatever. And
not exactly. I watched the whole thing.
Okay.
Not exactly. Because a lot of times bits and pieces are taken out of interviews and become headlines, and you don't really see what's before and after. So, in a way, he said, I don't regret what happened because I don't regret anything that I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything I do, I ultimately have to stand on. I can't live my life saying, I wish it didn't happen. He did say, I do feel very bad for the family and, the victim and stuff like that. It's not something that he was happy about or bragging about. He did say, well, Pop Smoke did rap about this stuff. And, I'm saying he should have been somewhat aware of
the situation.
Of the overall situation. But, it's not like he's giving himself a high five for he's glad he killed him or anything else like that. He's a teenager. I think he was like 15 or something, 15 or 16 when it happened.
A lot of time that's you playing the role.
Yeah, you're being involved
I don't think
with the homies. The first,
you're being involved with the homies' plots. I mean, you're young. You're wanting to belong. You wanting to show them that if this is what we doing, I'm just as down as you.
Exactly.
You hit me. So that's what a lot of youngsters go through with the peer pressure of gangbanging.
Right.
You want to let especially the older cats know that you're not a punk. Like I'm down. So if this is what we doing, then like I see him with the sense of saying, I don't regret what I do because I made the decision.
Yeah.
To, it was talked about. I probably could have had an opportunity of going, no, I'm not going to do that shit. But then I would have been looked at as a buster or a punk or a nigga, we can't fuck with you. So this decision that he's saying, I don't regret what I did, is because I decided that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
You get me? I'm partaking in the neighborhood antics.
No one put a gun to my head and made me get in that car and go along with this. And my mother wasn't tied up in a warehouse somewhere.
The attitude of the youngsters is like, I want to show the G's that I'm just as down for the cause as you would be. So, but not thinking, like in the situation of somebody getting killed or whatever, it's not to be thought of, I feel sorry for the family at the time or whatever. Now, later on, when you start, when you got time to sit and you see that, nigga ain't did nothing to us. He wasn't beefing with our hood. He was just a random nigga that, we decided that we was just going to try to rob a motherfucker. And unfortunately, when you in this life, the trigger can get pulled.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't criticize Adam for doing the interview because I personally have interviewed a lot of killers over the years. And what makes this guy different than me interviewing Sammy the Bull that was responsible for 19 murders,
right?
Including his brother-in-law.
Oh yeah,
his wife's brother.
We interviewed Sammy. Sammy was treacherous.
Yes, his kid's uncle are dead because of him, and I've done multiple interviews with him. I interviewed No Plug, who killed Bankroll Fresh in self-defense, but he said that he was shot at first. They returned fire. video that eventually came out on TMZ that actually showed Bankroll Fresh waving a gun around right before the shooting occurred.
At the studio, right?
At the studio.
Yeah, I saw that.
I have interviewed lots of mob, other mafia hitmen. I interviewed one of the guys that, killed Michael Jordan's dad. Just to show, no, this wasn't a mafia hit. This was two broke kids living in trailer homes that robbed an old man who had fallen asleep in his car on a Lexus on the side of the road down the street from a motel where all the drugs and prostitutes were. And, a gun got pulled out and he got killed. Like, a lot of times these are kids that are doing this.
Well, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, think about, you could have, during your time as a teenager, in your neighborhood, could have gone along with a group of young guys and someone may have lost their lives in the course of a crime.
Definitely.
You could have been that guy getting interviewed by Adam.
Yeah.
But the thing is, but since we don't know we don't really know who Sammy the Bull's victims are.
Right.
We don't listen to their songs. We don't see videos of them. We don't like their music. So that's considered not as bad as Pop Smoke? No, it's the same thing. It's a human life lost.
Yeah, people, the times are different, with the age of how shit happens right now, and especially, somebody who was as popular as Pop Smoke, and the drill rapping, and everybody was, the representation that he was having for his section and coming up is what makes it more difficult for fans and family and people just in general who might just have the attitude of, oh, he got killed in L.A., man, them some fucked up niggas out there, blah, blah. But just like you said, in a sense, it could have been Pop Smoke, it could have been me, it could have been any other nigga. And then, like you saying, as far as the hitters, they're just following the tradition of what's always gone on as far as being affiliated to the neighborhood. You got the niggas who sell dope. You got the niggas who the killers. You got the niggas who hang out on the block. So at one time or another, if you really down for the cause, you're going to be in a situation that you're going to have to prove your loyalty to the neighborhood. And that's going to either doing a drive-by or going to rob a nigga or beefing with the other section. There are rules to follow when you gang banging and you starting to be affiliated with the block.
Right, he's gang related. He talked about being, I forgot which gang it was, but he's gang related.
There's a storyline you walk as far as being affiliated and gang banging and all of that. We're not choir boys. You get me? Even though, you do have some OGs who try to turn the aspects around and try to talk to the youth and get them to unfollow the days of old. But, man, when you 15, 16, 17, man, all you want to be known as is a nigga who's going to be down. You get me? If that's the path you walking. If I'm claiming the block and I'm out here saying, nigga, it's going to be guns and jack moves and robberies and all that, that's the code.
Look, I interviewed Terrence Gangster Williams, who's Birdman's half-brother.
Right.
He killed his first person at 11 years old. He killed 40 people that he admitted to. And, older guys would groom him into this thing.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? All he wanted to do was impress his, the OGs in his neighborhood. He just wanted to show he was down. At one point, Slim brought him a life insurance, contract to sign. He didn't even know what it was about. He was like 11 or 12. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that's happening that your 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old brain doesn't really comprehend.
Of course
and these
not.
older guys really understand that we'll just let him do it because he'll just get a couple years in juvie.
Yeah.
And this will shield us from real repercussions.
Some of the OGs, will try to steer you on a path if they see some kind of positivity in you. Mm-hmm. You have something that, man, you don't need to be over here. But if you just a motherfucker running wild and you affiliated with the neighborhood, then yeah, you're going to be groomed to certain situations.
So you saw this.
Yeah.
What was the, you don't have to name any names, the youngest shooter that you saw growing up?
Shit. I mean, shit, at 13, 14, I was carrying a gun.
Okay.
I mean, my cousin gave it to me. I brought the gun. We went on a fucking family vacation to Mississippi, and my cousin gave me a strap because I know what they doing out there. Like, and this was like early, I was like early ages, like right when I started getting fascinated with the hood and dope selling and the homies on the block and whatever. Did I have the mentality of, I'm finna go out here and just be but once you got a gun in your hand, the whole situation is, nigga, I'm gonna use this motherfucker if I got this. What I'm living in.
Who was the youngest killer that you knew about?
Oh, man. I don't say no names, but yeah, I knew niggas who was doing drive-bys at 15.
15 years old.
Yeah.
And people were dying in the process.
I'm not gonna say, but I knew niggas who was doing drive-bys at 15. Like it was.
Isn't it wild at your
was
age
normal,
to think about
though.
that?
It was normal.
It was normal at the time, but now
that I'm
you got
53,
a kid in college,
and I got a kid in college, and I was able to steer him from that path.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Yeah,
because some of our young boys and our young men are forced into the situation because they don't have, my father wasn't in the home. That's why I got led towards gangbanging. You get me? After my mom and father divorced, we moved to Spooktown. You get me? Compton. In the middle of, you got the CV70s over here, Acacia blocks here, across the tracks is South Side. You go down here, Santana block. You get me? The Palmer blocks over. You were surrounded by, what you finna do? Be normal?
Yeah.
How? I'm catching the bus to school and niggas is pulling up on me at the bus stop. Nigga, where you from? Nigga, I'm a naive 12-year-old. Like, where I'm from? I just came from over there. What do you mean? Oh, you live over there? Oh, yeah, you automatically labeled. So it's either join up or motherfucker get ran over. Because at that time, I wasn't a kid in the sports. I wasn't a kid who was finna get a college education. I probably could have if my mind state was there. But you get me? When you got no father in the home, and my mother's working motherfucking 11 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning, and then my sister's got the gangbangers and shit coming through, you influenced by that lifestyle. Where am I finna go? I'm finna go right down the street.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's essentially child abuse, if you think about it.
It's unfortunate that we, moms struggle. You have single parent homes, and divorce happens.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, my father meant to set me on a path of being a gang-banging, drive-by killer drug seller. But, when your parents divorce and your pops, shit, I'm finna move out to Oklahoma, or I'm still working.
Oh, that's what happened? Your dad moved to a different state?
Yeah, he moved. He worked. My father worked at General Motors all his life. So even when that situation happened, it's either like you can be a motherfucking bum, or you can still get your ass up and do something about your life. So he was a worker.
Right, and you talked about one of your podcasts that you just weren't good at selling crack. You tried it, but it was just not your thing.
No, it wasn't my thing. I was more of just the nigga who wanted to be in the neighborhood and whatever problems arise. I was not one of the money maker dudes. I tried it once or twice. It didn't happen. So I was just a nigga who toted the pistol and just hung out in the neighborhood. I didn't try to sell kilos, or maybe every now and then maybe sell a little weed, you know what I'm saying, just to make some money to rent the cluck car and go out to the drive-in, buy you some new khakis and some Cortez, and then I was cool with that. And then around that time is when the hip hop started. You get me? I was introduced to Toddy T and, you know, listening to Todd and Mixmaster Spade and talk about our situations is what made me go, maybe I can try this rap shit. But then it still didn't deter me from gangbanging. Because my first 3 albums, I was still going to the neighborhood every day.
Yeah, I remember, I think it might have been on Drink Champs you said this, where when you guys were first trying to get a deal, you went to Ruthless.
Right.
And Eazy-E said that you sound too much like Rakim.
Yeah, he said I sounded like Rakim.
How crushed were you? Because Eazy was everyone's hero at that point.
I wasn't crushed. I was just like, fuck that shit. We finna go, we finna go get on.
Okay.
Because I was still a gangbanging
But
nigga.
wouldn't that have been perfect? Would a dream come true to sign with Eazy-E?
Oh, that would have been perfect.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, because like I said, Eazy, you know, had Ruthless Records. Ruthless was the foundation of Compton.
100%.
And
Ruthless Records put Compton on the map. Okay, period.
I know we might.
Point. No, I don't want to hear from anything else.
You get a lot of motherfuckers who discredit, because I had this discussion too. And people started, you know, I started getting a lot of before me vets.
No. I was living in the Bay. I had never in my life heard of Compton. In fact, after listening to Eazy-E, I thought that Compton was in Michigan.
Okay.
Because of that little skit in the beginning.
Oh.
Okay.
Now, we had a lot of, you know, we had the Wrecking Crews and the Unknown DJs.
They did not
and all
move
that.
around like
But
the Eazy-E album.
I get a little flack because I say that Eazy is who influenced me to make records. Not like, you know, the Wrecking Crew or fucking the LA Dream Team or Bobby Jimmy and the Critters and shit.
I remember them,
that to me wasn't our identity as West Coast music. Now, I don't hate the sound that we had.
It was the electro sound. Yeah.
It was a technotronic electro sound.
Yeah. Uncle Jam's Army, Egyptian Lover. I was listening to all this stuff at the time.
And it was good. It was great
dope.
music.
But it wasn't like
But it wasn't
NWA.
the foundation of Compton to me.
No.
And so, not to discredit nobody, but yeah, Eazy and Ruthless was the influence of Compton to me. Even though we had a lot of underground rappers, like I said, we had Toddy T with the Batarang, Mixmaster Spade.
Right.
But to me, Eazy was able to take it to the level of niggas was going, damn, Compton. You get me? Compton. And, you know, when you started being able to go across the states and, you know, I started going to different places, Compton was known because of Eazy and NWA.
Did you and Eazy have a relationship?
Yeah. I was supposed to write some songs for Eazy before he passed. Did a couple of shows with Eazy and Bone. So, like, Eazy was very influential to gangster rap is what they want to call it. Yeah. He was able to show people, you know, what was going on in the city as far as, you know, the frustrations and the niggas gang banging and the police shit and all that. You know, that's what they expressed. And that's what a lot of us tried to follow.
Well, Foolio was just killed.
Yeah.
On his 26th birthday. I had interviewed Foolio once. We did another interview with him on Vlad TV, but that was done through Shirley Jew. I wasn't actually there. But the first interview was a very serious interview, and we started going through all the beef and everything else like that. I remember clearly, and I rewatched this after he died. I said, look, I understand you and Young and Ace have some back and forth, and there's been lives lost, but can y'all work it out? Can you just say, listen, this is not a path that, you know, has a future in it? Can we somehow work it out? Can we let bygones be gone? You know, can we just get on the phone? You know, y'all, whatever. When I talked to, you know, and he said, yeah, you know, that's a possibility. We'll probably talk sooner or later. Could there be anything that could be done with, let's just say, you and Young and Ace sitting down together and saying, look, a lot of fuck shit happened on both ends, but we have to just basically, you know, we don't have to be friends, but we got to get past this and kind of just move on with our careers because we're both successful in our own way.
It probably happen sooner than later. You never know what God got planned, you know? I told him that a couple times, you know? We be talking time to time, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never know what can happen. You know, like, it ain't no, you know what I'm saying? We want to kill each other. Nah, we just mutual, you know?
When I brought it up to Young and Ace, I said, can you and Foolio work it out? You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to, if I bring someone on, I talk about the beef, I'm trying to find a solution in the process.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Every time. And he was like, yeah, man, eventually, whatever. And then he ends up getting killed on his 26th birthday. And it was like, God damn, I didn't realize he was even that young.
Mm.
And it kind of shocked me that, damn, he was only 26, no kids.
Oh, wow.
And it happened in Tampa, I believe.
Yeah, Tampa.
Which is not that far from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You know, I always, and you know, like me and FBG Duck.
My father's from Tampa.
Yeah. You know, and it's like, I always tell these dudes when I interview them, like, if you really, like the FBG Ducks, like, you just need to move away. I've never heard of anyone who books a plane ticket and flies somewhere to go kill you.
Exactly.
I've never heard of this. It's always crimes of opportunity. It's always within driving distance, a social media post, a IG Live or something, and they're usually within a quick drive there and back. But he decided to stay in Florida.
Right.
And you've talked about this. What did you think when you heard the news?
Didn't know him personally, but you start trying to hip yourself to these rap beefs nowadays. There's one that we tried to follow. Him and Young and Ace was beefing. I knew they were from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of their videos, listened to a lot of their songs. They really were going back and forth with each other.
Yeah, a lot of smoking on dead ops.
And then what I've noticed is a lot of those beefs they used to fuck with each other sometimes, a lot of those beefs. Different crew members used to fuck with each other, school days or whatever. Some misunderstandings turn into just, we finna just start killing these niggas. I thought it was unfortunate because, like I said, you try to do this rap thing to basically promote yourself to a better life, right? You want to be in a position to where you can make money, live comfortably. You know, that's what the outlook of it is. The youngsters just don't know how to handle the hip hop game right now. Because a lot of them are turning it into the personal neighborhood beef scale. You get me? You got to learn how to stop broadcasting too.
Oh yeah, because he was announcing that he was having a party.
Yeah,
He's like, DM me for the address.
You
don't know who the hell's DMing you.
Yeah, you got to start learning how to move a little differently. And I guess they want to be known as, I'm out here. I'm outside. I'm outside. We ain't hiding. But as many guns you got, the opposition got them too.
All it takes is one bullet.
And when you know it's that serious to where a nigga really want to kill you, maybe you have to think about not being the tough motherfucker. You get me? Toughness don't get you nowhere. Toughness is get you put in the ground, really.
Well, look, after that happened, I sat down and I made a list of all the people who were killed violently that I interviewed. 19 people.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Jimmy Wapo, 21. Doe B, 22. Jay the Youngin, 24. BTB Savage, 26. FBG Duck, 26. Foolio, 26. Mo 3, 28. Draco the Ruler, 28. Takeoff, 28. Chinks Drugs, 31. E-Day, 632. Big Glow, 33. Slim 400, 33. Nipsey Hussle, 33. Young Greatness, 34. Snooty Wild, 36. Young Dolph, 36. The Jacket, 37. Gonzo, 45.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
almost half are in their 20s. All of them were essentially young black men.
Definitely.
None of them died of old age.
No.
I can imagine if I'm naming a bunch of 80 and 90-year-olds that are just dying off from Alzheimer's. No,
it just goes to show how unfortunate our music is tied into street reality, you know?
Yeah, they all got shot except for Draco, who got stabbed.
Right. Our life in this hip-hop music is martyred by street reality, man. You get me? Because so many dudes want to prove their worthiness to the motherfucking neighborhoods and to the block and the image that is portrayed on the record. You get me? I can't be talking about I'm this and I'm that and then go outside and I'm hiding. So they really want to expose themselves and fear, like, I don't even know if they have the sense of today could be my last day. Because when you beefing as seriously that some of those dudes you were now some of you expected. You know, we didn't expect Nipsey to be killed by, you know, one of his, you know, one of his own.
Yeah.
We would have never in a million years expected that, because, you know, Nips was cool with everybody that we thought.
Yeah.
You feel me?
You know, but then some of them you look at it like, okay, not to say that one exactly has something to do with the other, but, you know, FBG Duck dropped a song called Dead Bitches that dissed all his enemies'
and we saw
dead
that.
friends. Draco the Ruler dropped Ingleweird.
Definitely.
That definitely did not stop the process of people hating him.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's just going to fuel the fire.
It's going to fuel the fire of a whole city.
But if that's the role you want to take because you're feeling like it's what I have to do, then you have to know that you're putting yourself in a line of fire.
Yeah.
You get me?
Young Dolph had I think mixtape called Bulletproof.
I saw that.
After his car got shot up, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just sad, man. It's just sad.
It's unfortunate. Like I said, it's unfortunate. It's for us as black men that trying to change your life and better yourself could get you in a situation to where you probably won't be able to make it because a lot of this stems from being neighborhood affiliated, man. A lot of these dudes are still in the neighborhoods, and even though you trying to make a better way, there's still the dudes on the block who ain't. You get me? A lot of these dudes, man, are in situations to where, like I said, it's the path that we signed up for. And if you want to grab the mic and you still want to be, you know, if you still want to be that, then there's no motherfucking pass for you now that you rapping. You get me? And a lot of the dudes who getting killed too, they on the microphone speaking their piece about fuck you too. Nigga, I'm from here, fuck you and your homies. And that's where a lot of it stemmed from. You get me?
No, it's sad, man. It's sad because essentially all these people I've named, almost all of them died in their own neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all of them could be alive today if they had just said, I'm going to move away. I'm not going to go back to areas that I know are, you know, potentially dangerous. Like, you know, look, I understand.
To
like,
them, that doesn't show loyalty to the neighborhood. Yeah. And a lot of dudes, and I know it's hard to understand that, but it's crazy because, like, I came from that time.
Yeah.
I came from a time to where I didn't give a fuck. Yeah, I knew I was rapping and making videos and shit, but I still went to the neighborhood every day. I knew them was the opposition or they was from another set and they could easily drive through here right now, right. See me at the light on Compton Boulevard and whatever. I didn't care.
Right, and you were the prize. Think about that.
You goddamn right. But
you were the prize. All your 20 friends who no one's ever heard of.
Me being able to show the niggas that I felt were my family And the niggas that when we was all over here piecing up on boxes of chicken and 40 ounces and watching each other's backs and all that, I felt I wanted to show them that I was more with them than being on stage with the fucking fans appreciating me and signing my autographs and people appreciating my music and wanting to take pictures. I'd be like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm ready to go back to Compton and go to the hood. And whether we was just standing on the block all day smoking blunts or sitting in the garage, I felt that was more important to me because this is where I earned who I am. You get me? I earned that over here. I didn't earn that with these motherfuckers spending their money on records and what. I earned that being on the block with these niggas every day. So it takes you a minute to see like, I got a motherfucking $500,000 house an hour away from here, but I'm sitting over here every day in the garage. And like, I got motherfucking all kind of shit at home, but I'm driving over here. Just, it takes you a time to grow up. It takes a time to grow up, man. And like I said, I probably didn't figure that shit out until I was like early 30s. Like,
yeah. But look,
it took a nigga to tell me, why are you coming over here still?
Oh, someone actually told you that?
Yeah. Why are you coming over here still? I'm pulling up in a fucking $100,000 car, $40,000 diamond encrusted Rolex on, chains, cell phone, rims on cars, and I'm going to the neighborhood because I wanted to still show this shit ain't about shit. It's about where I came from. And then it took a nigga to go, why are you coming over here still? Why? Why? Because let me tell you something, it's not a good look. Because it only is gonna bring jealousy, man.
Oh yeah.
It's only gonna bring
it's not like
jealousy.
You're handing out money to everyone there.
No.
It's a weird thing though, because it's like me and Michael Vick got into damn near an argument during our interview because to this day, he doesn't regret basically supporting all his homies over the years. The same homies who had dogfighting rings in a house that he owned that sent him to prison, that caused him to go bankrupt, and potentially could have ended his entire football career.
Exactly.
But he's like, oh, so you mean to tell me if you found $30 million in the back, you wouldn't split it with your friends? And I'm like, it's not like finding the money in the back. It's because of all the work you put in to get you to this NFL level. And you're supporting these group of people like they're your fucking children. Some of them snitched on you, when the cops came.
Yeah, when they came for them interviews,
one of them was, I think it was his cousin or something that snitched on him who tried to go to his birthday party later on and got shot. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's just like, but he doesn't regret it. He doesn't see anything wrong with that. He still, stands by his decision. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. I have friends and I help them out when I can, but I'm not taking a bunch of men along, to trips with me and paying for everyone's plane tickets, taking everyone shopping and all that, because I've seen when I've done that in the past, they've all turned against me when I've told them no for the first time. So fuck it.
It's hard to it's hard to decipher because when you feel loyalty to that, it's just a different situation because a lot of dudes didn't come from, brothers and family and being associated with the homies bring you a different feeling. That is like, I want to bring all my friends. I want to bring them all along. You get me?
I get it.
And you have that connection when you growing up with certain dudes and we all poor. You get me?
Listen,
we all struggling, and so that be the mentality. Like I'm gonna do whatever I can for the niggas I used to get into fights with in high school, or the homies who got my back because they make you feel that loyalty to you.
Yeah.
Would they do it for you? You never know.
I get it, But when I stood my ground with this, people like, yeah, see, Vlad is foul. Vlad's not like us. You know, I mean,
Well,
he don't understand. He's never, he's just about this. And I was like, nah, man, like you don't see any truly successful people in this world who are still supporting their friends who are all essentially bums still. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You have the LeBrons who put people in position and send them to college, and they have to pull their weight.
Right.
If Rich Paul kept fucking up deals for LeBron over and over again and was sexually assaulting potential clients, he'd be back in his fucking house,
Right.
and LeBron would have gone with a professional management service. But they stepped up and they did what they were supposed to do. You know how it is, man. We all have fuck-up friends.
Oh, we definitely.
I can't put most of my friends in position. They'll fuck it up.
We all have those certain friends that if we could go to the end of the earth for, we will. And there's those certain friends that, you grow up with, and then there's sometimes you have to understand that maybe this ain't the best situation for me.
Right.
You get me? But you have to be, is it hard? Yeah. It might be hard to cut your partners loose that you've been knowing since grade school.
Yeah.
But everything is not potentially good for you. You have to be able to cut off certain situations that's bad. And people don't look at that like in certain positions. You're supposed to look out for the homie. Or we from the sandbox together. Or, I've had similar situations,
We all have.
I write songs, I produce, but my nigga who, from the hood, he has no knowledge of that.
Right.
He don't know how to write a lyric or, produce a beat or turn on a drum machine, but it's still a motherfucker that since we was in the 3rd grade together, we've known each other. You try to maybe put them in positions that you think would benefit them, but then some dudes, I'm hood for life. You get me?
Yeah.
You have to learn how to associate yourself with those type. Even though they still are homies. You get me? You probably, if one time you want to slide them some help, or it can't be like, it can't be forever. You get me? You gotta have to cut it off at one point. And there's a difference of a homie who knows is, well, nigga, shit, I'm learning how to program a drum machine. I'm learning how to do this, or I'm learning how the management game going. I'm talking to people, whatever. You have to put yourself in a position that's going to benefit, because eventually, you have to distance yourself from that. If it's going to be a situation to where it's going to be ugly for you in the long run, you got to cut yourself off from certain losses. And it's not that you want to be just like, fuck the nigga, but you have to be able to, you have to be able to grow up and be like, yeah, man, check this out. I can't be having dog fights over here, dude. You feel me? Like, but being a regular nigga, we know we used to have dog fights, right? But now
I'm a major NFL quarterback.
Yeah, but
you cannot do this here.
But if the attention is coming down and people are not worried about y'all, but they're starting to focus on me, certain things that I can't do. You get me? Like, they watching me. I can't go out and buy y'all a gang of AKs and shit today. You feel me? Niggas is watching me. I can't just go buy, or do certain shit, because then at the end of the day, when the trouble come down, you gonna turn around and do this.
Yeah.
I got it from him.
Yeah.
Now, if you loyal and you real respectful to a nigga, you gonna shut your mouth and be like, I don't know what you talking about. Nope, I did all that on my own. He ain't had nothing to do with it. But shit, if you ain't ready to handle that time and that pressure, of course they gonna turn around and be like, he did it. He gave it to us. He whatever. So people don't know how to, especially when you're being criticized from the other side. People look at it like your loyalty when you come up in certain situations, as far as being from the neighborhood or having the homies or whatever. Some people look at you differently. You ain't supposed to snitch. You ain't supposed to do this. You ain't supposed to do that. So, hey, but sometimes you got to save face. You get me? I'm not going to be the only one, going to prison, or the only one getting fined or whatever. So maybe it's just best we just stop the shit right now. Sometimes, hey, if it's lucrative, a motherfucker gonna keep doing it. That's why I say it's the difference between motherfuckers who respect you and loyalty.
Yeah.
Because loyalty only gonna get you so far. For motherfucker
count on
respect
loyalty.
you.
Yeah. No, when I was asked that same question on Drink Champs,
Yeah, motherfucker respect you, man.
I said,
please.
fuck loyalty, man. It's useless. It's a concept that a person will flip on for any reason.
Yeah, that loyalty switch turn on and
Turn
off
on
like
right
it ain't
there.
shit.
Do you know how many mafia guys I've interviewed, made men? Yes, I took the oath. I did these murders. I beat these guys up. I did this. I did that. Oh, and I would have done 100 years. Oh, but then I heard on tape that he said this. Oh, but then, yeah, he slept with my girlfriend. So I snitched on everyone and put 40 people in prison.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what about those other people? Well, that...
We'll see you get you turned on the
You know what I'm
motherfucker
saying?
real
Like,
fast.
it's Sammy the Bull. He turned on, John Gotti because there was a tape where John Gotti said that he was going to turn on him.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's
We're
cool.
gonna let him take the fall
That's
for
cool.
everything.
I said, what about all those other trials you took the stand in and all the other people, that you contributed to their, oh, well, they were already going to jail anyways, there's always a reason. There's always a reason.
Loyalty only take you. I'd rather have a person respect me
That's
because
it.
then when they respect you,
because
they
respect
won't
is
even,
ongoing
they
process.
won't even try to attempt to type
Exactly.
shit. So,
well, one of the discussions that's been happening right now in LA, Whack 100 and Adam chimed in on this, is who was more influential in LA, YG or Draco the Ruler?
In my opinion, they were two influential artists when they came in the game. The spectrum that they had for their hip hop, for their music, was greatly accepted. It was coming into the new style, I thought YG's first album was real good. It was real influential as far as West Coast. And I thought Drakeo's style was the introduction of something new. My son loved Drakeo's music.
I think it's pronounced Draco.
Draco?
Yeah, I remember I called him Drakeo once and he was like,
Draco.
Yeah, it's Draco.
Yeah, it is Draco. Let me stop.
It's spelled
My
kind of
bad.
Drakeo,
Yeah.
but it's Draco. Yeah.
But my son loved him. He used to play his music all the time.
Yeah.
I was one of those OG cats who come from a different class of music.
Yeah.
But my son would put me up on all the newcomers.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he had a broad audience. People loved him from here. It's unfortunate, like I said, that our street ties get us into some unfortunate situations of what happened. But I think he was a real powerful artist as far as the young class is concerned. He had a lot of listeners. And as far as YG concerned, to be able to take his music and represent for his section, and to basically give us some familiarity with West Coast music.
Yeah.
As far as with his first album, I thought it was perfect to lead us into the new generation of West Coast hip hop. It's unfortunate that the inner workings of their situation led to what happened. I don't know too much about it. Like I said, I don't speak on other neighborhood politics. As far as I knew I knew the sections they were from. So I try to avoid that and just focus on the music they was making. And I can say that, they both were heavy influential in West Coast music coming into the new times.
Yeah, I just had Whack on, and I guess originally he said YG, but he said after some time had passed and he's seen sort of the reaction of what he said, and a lot of young dudes kept approaching him, he said that he actually had to take it back and said Draco.
I've got held up at the gas station at least 15 times by youngsters to where I had to sit back and think about that. worldwide, YG hands down
Of course.
gets that. I gotta keep it real.
Right. But LA,
I've had youngsters, I swear to God, just the other day, I was in Acton, California, on my way to Antelope Valley at 2 a.m. Youngster jumps out the car. Hey, Wack, I gotta pick a bone with you. I say, what's up, man? He said, first of all, listen, I'm 19 years old. You were wrong about YG and the Ruler. I said, what was I wrong about? He puts on some music. I said, damn, who was that? That sound like Drake. That's me. He influenced me to rap in his style. So did this. And he said, I'm gonna keep it real and you might whoop my ass. You know what he told me? He even influenced Blueface. That's why I listened to Blueface in his earlier years. And I sat back and I said, you know what? This is like the 15th youngster. They've been spotting me at the light.
right.
You were wrong. I fuck with YG, but you were wrong. Draco influence. So I think it's more rappers that's around LA
Yeah.
that was influenced by Draco's style of rap.
Because Draco really did have a big influence in
Oh,
LA.
he had
Like a lot of the young dudes are all trying to be like baby Dracos in a way.
As far as the style,
The style,
the style
exactly.
and the flossiness and the
Yeah.
clothes and
Yeah, I think more people try to dress like Draco than YG. You know,
Yeah,
like the dress shoes and all that.
YG has his own style.
thing. He's
and,
unique.
and that's cool
Yeah.
because you want to separate yourself sometimes. When you get into this game, you have to have something that is different from the next motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what he had, with his style, because everybody, at first it was just, he's a typical hood Compton nigga, tattoos, talking about the block, whatever. But a lot of his songs were club. A lot of his songs were popping in the club. So that was the difference as far as the style and being fancy and artistic and all that. Drakeo had that. I mean, I thought he was real good for the youngsters coming up, He had a lot of influence as far as the young car.
Yeah, no, listen, I interviewed him. I think I did his first interview out of prison. And I remember they wanted me to interview him while he was still in prison, but he was facing that murder charge,
Right.
which ultimately got dropped. And I just said, I said, every single word in this interview could potentially influence your case. So I do not want to do this.
Yeah.
Your manager, TK, actually wanted me to do the interview maybe about a year ago while you were still locked up.
Yeah.
And I said no, because I was concerned that something you might say in the interview might be used in your case.
Yeah.
Like I've been through legal shit myself. My lawyers always told me to shut the fuck up when it comes to upcoming cases.
Yeah.
So for your well-being, even though I knew it would get a lot of views,
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm going to pass on it. Let's wait until everything works out.
Yeah.
So as soon as you get out, I got you. But I know you're trying to get your story out. But
Yeah, because they go that route nowadays. You get me?
Listen. Remember, Whack 100 tried to bail out Keefe D, and they used my interview in court. That basically said that he, when he bails him out, he wants to do some business with him, potentially do a series on him, and they played in court, and the judge basically put a stay on the bond because of this interview. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't even know whether I didn't know there's anything even wrong with him doing that.
It's unfortunate that nowadays that the internet and social media and your status can influence your case. We see that with the Young Thug situation.
Yeah.
You basically just have to watch what you say and how you present it nowadays. Because you can go write a song today and not know and get into some shit, and they're gonna use that shit against you in court. So it's very skating on thin ice, so to speak, nowadays. You have to watch what you say, especially with people wanting to take the lyrics that we write and the situations that we want to talk about, and they can use them against you.
I mean, what do you think about the Young Thug case?
I think it's tiresome. I think it's a waste of time.
18 months. It's the longest criminal case in Georgia history already. and it's just breaking the record on a daily basis.
And the thing is, he didn't kill nobody. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
well, they're saying that he had maybe ordered the hit or whatever. This is where the gray area of it all starts.
yeah, it's still to me.
I don't know whether any of it is true. I don't know anyone from that camp.
Yeah, to be on trial this long for, you know, lyrics and being a hip hop dude and saying, you know, a lot of hearsay, a lot of he say, she say. It's unfortunate. Like I said, it took us a while to be able to sustain hip hop. Within the last 40 years, we haven't been able to be as visual and vocal as we've been on fucking records, and especially with the income and just having a position and a foothold on the music industry. It stains us when we keep having to look at, you know, what's happening as far as hip hop is concerned, as far as today. It took us a long time to get here. You get me?
But I feel like when you look at a lot of these top hip hop artists, they only stay hot when they engage in the beef. You know what I mean? Like, you look at a Lil Durk, you would think at this point, Lil Durk is at the level where he don't have to call anyone out, he doesn't have to beef with anyone, doesn't have to talk about, you know, smoking anyone. But like, if he drops a new album, there's probably going to be some spatterings of that in there because, you know, or like you look at like a Foolio, like you could tell Foolio don't talk about Young and Ace or don't talk about smoking the ops, but then you look at his songs and all his top songs are just that.
Yeah, definitely.
All the party songs, all the love songs, all the lyricism type songs, no one wants to hear it.
No, because if you come into the game and you beefing with the opposition and you talking about Lil Cuddy got smoked and so-and-so ran up on so-and-so with the AK, and these are factual situations, that's all I want to hear now. All I want to hear is your shit. I don't want to hear how you trying to come out the game or how you finna make love to your woman. I'm telling you, motherfuckers love shit. Yep. We love motherfucking crazy shit. And it fascinates us when shit goes down. So that's why we're intrigued by it. That's why you got all these shows with bitches fighting each other on these shows and all these motherfucking TV shows where all they do is ding, ding the bell and let's get up and scrap, you know, because motherfuckers are intrigued with mess.
I mean, do you think that you would have survived your rap career if there was social media during the start?
Ooh.
Think about that. Think about all the shit you were into, all the records, the beefs, this, that, and the third. Was all without social media.
It all depends because like I just said, people love shit. They love to see some crazy shit
But
going
social
on.
media magnifies it a lot.
Oh, definitely. Like, I think back then, could you imagine all the motherfucking fights at the Jack the Rappers and the motherfucking just shit that was going on?
None of that. There's no video footage of any
None of that
It's just
shit.
a story.
It's just a story.
You know, Code 187 will tell the story about what happened, but it's not like a video.
We got on the elevator and they had to stick niggas with pins and, you know, how we was in New York and we had this happen, or, you know, it's been a lot of situations, man, where we was in a situation where we in a certain town and guns had to get pulled. If all that shit was able to be presented, man, it who knows how it would be today.
Well, because remember, you talked about a situation where your producer got beat up at Death Row Records?
Yeah. Yeah, Unknown was fucking with Death Row when we were working on our third album, Music to Drive By. And they had just came into the Death Row name and was starting to form that. The Convicts was out here. I think the Convicts were probably supposed to be the first group on Death Row. 3-2.
Convicts?
Yeah, Big Mike and 3-2 from Houston. They were affiliated with Rap-A-Lot.
I know who Big Mike is. He joined the Ghetto Boys.
Yes.
After
that was supposed to be the first group, so to speak.
Who left? Scarface left, I think?
No, it was, who left?
Who did Big Mike replace?
Big Mike replaced, if I'm not mistaken, Willie D.
Willie D left?
Yeah.
Hold on. See, not now, because Willie D
on the Death Do Us Part album.
Hold on. You're right. Hold on. Ghetto Boys, Death Do Us Part. Willie's actually my friend. I spoke to him just the other day.
We talk to Willie all the time.
No, you're right. You're right. Willie D left. You're right.
Willie D left. Big
Big
Mike
Mike,
came in.
You're right.
And then right when Death Row formed, there was some kind of history with Lil J and
Suge?
Harry O.
Harry. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so basically that was going to be the first group on Death Row, was the Convicts. 3-2
Wow.
and Big Mike. Yeah, they were working on, they was staying in an apartment in Hollywood, in North Hollywood.
Wild. I never heard this
And they was
before.
working on songs and all of that, and something happened and they left and went back home. And so the first record that came out was the deep cover record.
With Snoop.
Yeah. And that's how that came in. But Snoop, they was all around. Snoop was there, all of them, when the Convicts was here working on the record.
How badly did they beat up the producer?
He came to the studio with a black eye.
Okay.
He was basically supposed to have been working on music for Suge and them, for Death Row.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had took an advance from Suge to work on beats. And a lot of our beats were produced by DJ Slip. Even though Unknown was acting as executive producer, you know, he was basically the middleman. He was the dude who went up to the labels. He was the dude who went and sat in the meetings and all of that. But he was like, Slip did all our work. So I think he took some money to do some beats for Suge, for some of the artists. And he wasn't producing them fast enough. So he went, from what I heard, he went up there to the label and they questioned him on the music. And he said that he hadn't done the work yet because he was working on Compton's Most Wanted record. And I heard Suge said, I don't give a fuck about Compton's Most Wanted. And then so they jumped on him. And he came to the studio maybe 2-3 days later and he had a big black eye because he was in the studio dark as fuck with sunglasses on. And so we was like, why you got sunglasses on? What's going on? And so when he took the glasses off, we seen what happened.
How did you feel about that? Because this is a guy that you're closely working with.
At that time, I was having issues with Unknown, because Unknown had stole all my publishing.
Oh. Did you ever get it back?
No. We're
Really?
still going through it right now. Basically,
Wait,
I signed
30
a deal.
years later, you're still going through this?
I signed a deal with Techno Hop Records when I first signed a recording contract. And what he did was he stapled a publishing contract on the back of the recording contract.
Huh.
And it stood.
Wow.
And so publishing for my probably first 3 records he took under grandma's hands.
Wow.
I was a writer, but I had no publishing. Every song you saw my name as a writer.
Of course.
But he was grandma's hands publishing. You know, I was a naive kid. I was 17 years old when I started making records. I didn't know shit about contracts or none of that. I just signed the contract. And so I started putting, I didn't know nothing about publishing and writers and all of that shit. I mean, I would see my name on all the labels as writers for the songs, but I didn't start collecting my own publishing till probably after my 3rd album.
But the first 3 albums are the big albums.
Yeah, it's a Compton thing, straight checking on Music to Drive By. Yeah,
Saying. Those
were all CMW records. And after that, I switched to MC Eiht solo.
Solo.
Yeah, but all the Compton's Most Wanted records, he had the publishing on.
How do you deal with coming from the environment you come from and dealing with violence when it comes to disagreements, to having someone essentially steal your life's work?
But see, niggas like him didn't think of it as stealing.
No,
They
but
thought
from
of it-
you, though.
Me, I didn't know shit about it
But when
until
you
I got
finally
later
figured it out-
on. And then later on, I'm mature enough to know I can't go shoot a nigga. You get me? I can't go beat a nigga's ass. Where's that gonna get me? It's gonna get me in jail. So you hope that motherfuckers be respectful and they understand that this is his shit. And I'm not gonna try to collect money off of this nigga anymore. We haven't seen each other in over 20-something years or 30 years. Why am I still collecting money off of a nigga where I know I didn't write a single verse for this dude? Never. But back then, those labels felt like you owed that to them. I'm putting you in the game. You get me? To this day, a motherfucker would ask me, didn't you get to go around the world? Didn't you get to do this? Didn't you get to do that? So why are you sweating it? That's how they look at it.
I mean, there's two ways to look at it, right? Because, and people don't want to look at it this way, but this is the truth. When it comes to labels and new artists, there's usually about a 90% failure rate.
Definitely.
Right? 90% of the projects a label will put out with new artists, not established artists, new artists, will probably lose money.
Definitely.
The 10% will pay for the 90% of the losses.
Exactly.
That one platinum album will pay for the 100,000 that you lost on the 9 other albums.
Exactly.
Now, if you're the one that goes platinum, you're going to say, this is a fucked up deal. Like a Megan Thee Stallion. You know, she was the one person out that label that did well. And she's like, no, this is a fucked up deal. I deserve more, whatever else. The 9 people that you lose money on will never say, let me give you that money back.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So, and this is not diminishing your position. I'm just saying on a macro level, this is how it works in the record industry, which is why
I've been knowing this for a long time.
It's an industry I've never wanted to be in.
Yes.
It's more financially sound to buy lottery tickets, to buy scratch-off lottery tickets. It's more profitable to buy scratch-off lottery tickets than to start a record label and try to sign some new artists.
Right.
You'll almost definitely make more money with a scratch-off lottery ticket.
Definitely.
So, unfortunately, people like you get caught up.
Right.
Because of just the overall business structure.
Right.
And it's too bad. Because you got screwed,
yes.
But the 9 people who got $100,000 for an album that made no money that sold 14 copies, were like, well, that's your problem. You didn't promote me well enough.
Exactly.
You know, you should have put me in the studio with this guy. I kept telling you what you do, but you wouldn't listen. So that's on you. You know what I'm saying? At no point have I ever heard of anyone who came out with an entertainment project that did poorly that gave the money back to the person who financed them.
Exactly.
I have never heard that in life. But I've heard a lot of people that have done well that say that they got bum contracts.
Oh, definitely.
So that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah, that's all that happened. You know, I just
and it's
got
unfortunately you're the one that did well.
Yes.
You know?
I did well for as far as hip hop, as far as Sony is concerned.
Yeah.
As far as Unknown with Techno Hop, because he was able to basically take me from Techno Hop, sign me to Sony, and played the middleman. And so, you know, if Sony decided we finna give up $300,000 to make this record, he could go, shit, I'm finna take $200,000 and put it in my pocket.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go try to do the record for $100,000. And then there, we're gonna record at my house. I'm gonna do all the beats with Slip. And so, you know, and then you wondering why you still on the block in Compton and a nigga living down the street from Michael Jackson. You get me? So it's what happens, man.
Yeah, man. It's a business I've never wanted to be in.
Yeah.
It's a business, you know, and look, like, for example, the homie Trey D, right? I believe, unless I'm mistaken, because remember he got into it with Snoop. And I think he shot at Snoop at one point because he was mad about his record deal and he felt like he wasn't compensated enough, only to have him start his own record label, sign DW Flame, and then DW Flame is accusing him that he's not successful because he didn't do enough.
Yeah, it's
you see what I'm saying? You see
that's
how
that unfortunate. That's that unfortunate right there because
and listen, I fuck with all them.
You get into this business and like you said, as an artist, really not knowing the ins and outs, you automatically think that, oh, I'm finna be just as big, right? You know. And a lot of artists come in and, you know, us having that little knowledge of being artists and having contracts, we try to start these little labels, but I've never been influenced to sign an artist. I've never been.
Which is probably the best business decision you've ever made.
I've never been influenced to sign.
Yeah, me neither.
Because,
me neither.
You know, I might have a little change, but I know what's expected as far as an artist is concerned, and especially when they're comparing themselves to other artists who might be doing well. You know, where's my motherfucking $1 million, and then the publishing, and how come I ain't got this, and how come you ain't got me on motherfucking MTV, and how come I ain't here, and the expectation is that an overnight success can happen. And sometimes when you're an artist yourselves and you're dealing with independency and you're trying to help out a young dude that you might see that's hot or whatever, it could be really frustrating. So I've never been influenced to sign an artist. I've only I'm just gonna fuck with myself and that's it. Because I don't want to have the situations of thinking that I'm gonna change somebody else's life, and it doesn't happen for them.
Right. And how often do these indie labels blow up an artist and the artist stays with that label for the rest of their career?
Yeah.
Almost never.
Yeah.
They'll have a hot record and then they'll go and sign Rock Nation.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. And they'll say that person didn't do shit for me anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes. You have the quality controls that actually have brought up artists that stayed with them long periods of time. You have some unicorns here and there, but in general, all these startup labels, the one artist that'll blow up, as soon as they're able to leave, they'll leave right off the bat.
Oh, definitely.
And they won't take you with them.
No.
They won't keep you as the manager or the executive producer.
No,
never, ever. I'm just saying, it's an ugly business, and it rarely works out business-wise.
The record labels is a fucked up business.
It's a fucked up business. You're better off just doing it yourself.
Why you think everybody podcasting now? Shit.
It's easier. Yeah, man, listen. Look, like Tony Yayo, the last interview we did in New York, he brought a bunch of the little homies, like one of the G-Unit dudes had like some sort of a program that takes kids and shows them different aspects of business. And it was like, look, they could sit in on this Vlad TV interview in our big fancy studio in New York, and they could see me doing something that's a whole lot easier for them to accomplish than to be a 50 Cent.
Oh, definitely.
You could be an interviewer like Vlad way easier than being a popular rapper.
Yeah, definitely.
Way easier.
Yeah, definitely.
And here you could see it done at one of the highest levels in hip hop.
People love to hear conversations and stories as opposed to you trying to be the next, like you said. It's going hard to be fitting somebody's shoes. Now, if you can hold an interesting conversation with somebody and you can be a little articulate and you know how to pronounce a couple of words and shit, that might can work for you. But trying to be an artist, following somebody's footsteps is very hard. Trying to recreate, great moments in hip hop, man, that shit is hard, man. Yeah. It's real hard.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a poet.
Yeah, man, come on.
You have to be a musical genius. Like, you can't just recreate a Dre.
No.
There's something different about Dre's brain and his ears, and
it's just like I said, we get one of those every now and then.
Exactly.
Those don't come around too often. Dudes that are articulate like that, they come around not too often. So you have to honor that.
When Dre said Eminem is the greatest rapper of all time. Now keep in mind, right? The argument is, well, that's his artist. Of course he's going to say that. He's had lots of artists. He's had Ice Cube. He has Kendrick. You know what I mean? I don't think Dre is thinking, oh, well, financially, this is the best answer. I feel like that was his honest answer.
Yeah, because to him, it's basically, not to say it's his artist, but he's different. And, not to say that Cube and Kendrick or whoever were on the same pattern, but...
Snoop, another one.
You've seen that.
Yeah.
You've seen that.
He's got a bunch of artists that turn into mega icons.
You got it you got a great, you got a team of stars and shit, but there's only one Michael Jordan. You got a team of motherfucking great, great fucking picture painters. There's only one Leonardo, Da Vinci.
Yeah.
So that's the category he's putting in. To me, I feel, after seeing a Kendrick, now Kendrick's a great artist. He's quoted that. Nobody could top Cube. You get me? Cube was the shit. So with Snoop. Snoop's in the lane of his own.
Yeah.
But to him, in his opinion of, I've worked with niggas from this color to that color. I've worked for motherfuckers from singing to rapping to jazz to fucking, you know, whatever. And in my opinion, to me, he's the greatest artist that I've come across because he's able to do something that I haven't seen anyone else do as far as what he creates.
Yeah, no, he even talked about how the first day in the studio, he played the beat for, you know, hi, my name is, he played the beat and suddenly Eminem just came up with that whole thing right there on the spot.
I thought that was real crafty. I used to bang the shit out of hi, my name is.
And
it was different.
And Dre was like, God damn, this guy's...
He's giving us all type of music, you know, it's something that we are related to as far as the ears, and the beat is just captivating. But then when you hear this motherfucker talking about school and fucking parents and shit like that, you only imagine yourself being in his shoes as from what he came from. And it was crafty than just doing something typical like a Ice Ice Baby or, you know, fucking I'm a rap over wild thing, or I'm a rap, something that they would expect a white artist to do. You feel me? So for him to be able to come with that depression and that expression about life and what he felt about it, it just was able to captivate a different audience. You get me?
Yeah, and to this day, whatever, 20-some years later, he's still on the charts. He's still dropping music that people are reacting to. So and it is what it is.
That's sort of like Kendrick now, you know. He's able to take situations that we wouldn't necessarily even talk about. But because his mind is different and he knows how to articulate shit in the difference of just going, I'm going to pick up a gun and go blast on a nigga, or I'm going to claim the neighborhood. He says different things that you still can go, damn, that was clever as fuck. Because he talking about something as simple as what I do all day. You feel me? So... Those are different dudes, man. Those are different dudes, and you can't put nothing past them. Eminem, Kendrick, you have to give them their own lane. You know, I don't even consider them in. Eminem ain't no rapper. That motherfucker's he's different. You get me?
Yeah.
He's past the idea of me putting a CD in my car, rolling down the street, bumping and shit. He's a motherfucker that I'm gonna have to pull over and listen to what he's saying, and then I'm gonna go, damn, that nigga said that. You know, so that's how you look at Eminem. That's how you look at Kendrick.
That's what it is. MC Eiht, man. Glad to finally have you back.
Sure, you know what it do.
You know,
Vlad
make sure
TV.
you watch the Gangsters Chronicles.
Y'all go tune in, Gangster Chronicles. Shout out my boy Steele. Shout out Vlad TV. It's official.
That's what it is. Peace.